gentlemen? No. Hi. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Mindy is back, all the way back from Jesse's party.
Oh, boy.
So I know she's back.
All right. Welcome, guys. Welcome back to SOCA TV. You know, it's a long time we haven't discussed dance. So we have a phenomenal set of people here for you all to talk to this evening. Make sure and get ready to send in your voice notes and post all your comments while the show is going on. Today we have our young male dancers. Yes, ladies.
And I know there's no better way to introduce them with a fine poem. Now, I danced for the scribe and the Pharisees, but they would not dance and they would not follow me. I danced to the fishermen, for James and John. They came with me and the dance went on. Dance then wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all wherever you may be. And I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. This is the second verse from the Lord of the Dance, written by Rohan Hartman, sung by Dubliniers. And we have Mindy here will now introduce our first guest, some of the fine male dancers of Trinidad and Tobago, the young upcoming stars.
Okay, guys, so first up, we have one of the most interesting dancers that I have met. I've also performed with him on several occasions back in my UV days. And when you talk about lines and confidence in dance, this is one of the persons I would recommend. I want to bring on screen Mariba Francis. Welcome, Mariba, to SOCA TV. Mariba, one time, just give the viewers audience a little bit about yourself now. Tell us, about your career, your experience, very briefly, before we bring the others on.
Good night, everyone. Thank you very much, Minnie, for the great introduction. Just briefly, I would have started dance officially at San Fernando with Lesser Dance Company, run by Miss Joyce Keaton. I would have put off my dance training experience at the University of the West Indies, of course, where I would have met Mindy. And I went on by doing technical training with Andrew Lajan, Caribbean School. Also, I would have been awarded the scholarship to Beijing Dance Academy for 10 months, roughly 1 year. So I would have got some experience over there. And I am back home doing work and training and also doing different dance projects and work with different choreographers and communities around Trinidad and Tobago.
Fantastic, lovely.
Excellent. Nice, Mariba. You did fine. I've seen you dance and you did well. Mind you, he was also best male dancer at Sunfest. We have a few of them, but we'll get on by. Up next, he's not the best male dancer of Sunfest, but he has made an impression all over the world. Sandy Grandi Best, an upcoming star. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Diamond Samuel. Hi, Diamond! Oh my God! Diamond!
Diamond, you dressed to dance. Diamond, have on the outfit. You ready to perform? We just talking this evening, Diamond. We're not performing.
Oh my God! You are the finest, though. Let's hear a little about yourself, Diamond. Let the viewing public learn a little more about you.
Hi, everyone. Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Diamond Samuel. I started dancing at Sandy Grandi with Miss Yvette and Belesse. From there, I branched off to IKDC with Nelly Katoy, also known as Incredible Creation Dance Company. From there, I branched off into SOCA with Sean, Soloists Cultural Ambassadors, and I've been doing my own thing from ever since after that. And I know just trying to work towards building myself as an upcoming dancer.
Nice, impressive. You have a long career, very short but very long. You're doing lots. I've seen you in Kai Festa also, and you're amazing. I taught you some years ago, and you're really, really improved. And congratulations, you're with the stars now, so keep shining. They're coming. Up next.
All right, so guys, this person is no stranger to SOCA TV. He has been here before, but if we call in young male dancers, and we have the young professionals upcoming, we had to call him back on screen. From our Southland, one of our dancers who have impressed us from top to bottom. I want to invite on screen Mr. Simeon Peters.
Oh, Simeon! Simeon, sad look. Simeon, life isn't that hard. We know we're going to COVID. Come on. Smile, take this. Come on.
Simeon, I know you were here before, but could you just give our public, in case we have any new persons, just give us a little synopsis about your dance experience, your dance career?
Sure. Simeon started dancing in South under the tutelage of Judy Boatswain. Then I branched off San Fernando under the tutelage of Terry David and Kieran Sargent. From there, I pursued my my undergrad in performing arts, specializing in dance at ETT. Throughout that period, I would have been awarded the scholarship to China as well, 2015, 2016. I would have also been a part of the summer intensive at Edna Manley College of Performing Arts. In that time frame, I would have also taught at Universal Circus, represented Carrie Fester on 2 occasions, once in Suriname, once in Trinidad. Now, kind of back at the training stage, I'm not performing much anymore. I'm now going back to the training aspect of dance. So that's basically me for now.
Lovely, lovely.
And he's also Sunfest Best Male Dancer winner. They're coming. Sunfest have done a lot for most of these young guys. So next, thank you, Sam. And of course, the San Fernando Arts Council. We must big you all up for doing a lot for the young people in Trinidad and Tobago. But wait, who we have next? My God. The stars are shining tonight. I feel like I am just falling. But no wonder this star will not drop. I'll keep on top. So here we go. The first time I saw this guy was with Marabella. Dancing ballroom. A whole set of boys came on the stage, and this boy just was dancing, tall, graceful, and now he's one of Tobago leading dancers in all genres. You have no other way to mention one of South's finest, Mr. Jamal Walker. You're still smiling, just that same smile from ago. Jamal, tell us a little about yourself. Let's get a little more confident.
So much to say, I started in my beloved secondary under the tutelage of Carol Odongo and Deborah Martin. After this, I performed in Sunfest, moved on to dancing with Terry David, performing theater in South. That's why I did a lot of my training and experience in folk dance. Then moving along, I did my certificate in dance and dance education at the University of the West Indies. And from there, I performed at the Universal Circus Tour in the US, came back to Trinidad, and I started my degree at UTT. I've also had experience working with groups like Ujama and Batana, Joyce Curtin, Les of Dance Company, IBST Anti-Performers in Best Village. So I've done quite a few stuff, and now I'm in my final year, starting September, at UTT, finishing my BFA in the Performing Arts Dance.
You did plenty of big.
Lovely. I'm very glad to see you in our academics and keeping our practical side of dance alive.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, guys, apparently we can't stray from South, because the next person coming up on screen is also one of our Southern dancers, and he's furthest south from Moruga. I want to welcome one of our very talented young choreographers, and he is currently with us in the north, but he has made his name in Sunfest as well. I want to invite on screen Carson Laut. Welcome, Carson. Welcome, Carson.
Hi, Carson.
Hi, everybody.
Carson, just like the rest of them, give the viewing audience a little synopsis about yourself and your career.
I started dancing with artistic dance theaters under the leadership of Liana Boyce. From there, she actually started dancing in school as my dance teacher, and would have taken me through Sunfest Dance Festival and a few pageants. From there, I started my certificate course in UE. I did not complete, however, and due to those situations that would have hit home, I then moved to North, where I started performing with Soloists Cultural Ambassadors, which would now make it 4 years running. In that time, I would have won a scholarship with the RBC Young Leaders, where I did that program for 2 months. My teacher then was Miss LaShawn Prescott. That would have allowed me to also enhance my skill as a dancer all around. I then moved on to being taught by Arlington Series, the Soloists Cultural Ambassadors dance teacher. And in his little, his mind of grooming me would have allowed me to teach the companies assist first and then become a teacher for his companies such as Shogunas Women Youth Group, where I teach the babies there, Gonzalez, the juniors for Gonzalez Cultural Movement, and now August 2nd coming would be the anniversary of my own performing company, Laut Entertainment Arts Dynasty, where I'm also grooming what I would say the next generation in dance, both boys and girls. So that's a little bit.
You're big.
And you're working.
And he was also a winner of Mr. Sandfest and Simeon too, and also Best Male Dancer in Sandfest. San Fernando Creative Arts Center. You all have been doing plenty.
Big work.
Good. Well, I got a chance to bring you back down to the north. Now this guy has been, for me, I've never seen his work. I've heard a lot about it. I've read a lot about him. He has done a lot of unique work with various choreographies entail of blending the cultures. They call it assimilation of cultures. And he's doing a fine job with this, ladies and gentlemen. One of the most impressive dancers in the 20th century. It is Jhin Rupnarayan.
Welcome. So, Jhin, could you give us a little background, a little bit of your background? Tell us about yourself.
Okay, so I began dancing under three Rakesh Prabhakar and Pooja Malhotra in the style of Kathak dance. From there, after starting the University of Trinidad and Tobago for the performing arts, I began with Sri Satnarayan Balkaran Singh, who I am presently still learning under in the genre of Kathak dance. I also did a lot of choreography for the Coco Dance Festival, where I not only teach choreographed and dance a unique style for Indian contemporary, fusing the Indian classical Kathak dance with contemporary dance to show the evolution of Indian classical dance.
Okay, lovely.
So you are from, where are you from, north or south?
I'm from north.
Thank you very much. People always bring a little twinge to the dance.
Yes.
South have talent, but north have creativity. Raymond, continue.
We're gonna move over to Tobago. We got there. Diamond, can I just ask you to just verify that you have nothing making noise around you, like a fan or something like that? Because we're getting a feedback from your camera, from your microphone.
That could possibly be.
Something is crackling around you coming from your microphone. Nothing?
No, I don't have anything making any noise.
But you just fix it.
Okay, so guys, we're gonna hop over to our sister aisle at this time. And of course, this guy is also a no stranger to SOCA TV. He is one of the most phenomenal dancers that you would see when we talk about confidence, when we talk about creativity, when we talk about commitment. We want to welcome on screen Mr. Shaquille Jones.
Whoa, big people in the business. Hi, Shaquille, how are you?
Welcome to SOCA TV.
Back to SOCA TV, not banter. So let's go, Shaquille. How are you? So give us a big banter and let the whole of Trinidad and Tobago know more about you.
Anyways, good evening, everyone, and SOCA TV. Thank you for having me. My name is Shaquille Jones, also known as Kevon Jones. For those who may know me as I'm from the beautiful sister Isle of Tobago. I would have started dancing at the age of 5 with Pembroke folk and cultural performers. There I would have, gotten all my folk training from people like Karen Berkeley, Jessie Taylor, Annette Alfred, Henry James, those people. And then I would have moved on to Urban Ritual Dance Company, which was a contemporary dance company headed by Mr. Elvis Rajman. Academics-wise, I would have pursued a Bachelor's of Science degree in International Relations from the University of the West Indies, and recently completed my Master's of Arts in Dance at Florida State University. In terms of choreographing, I would have done work with Pembroke folk performers, Club, Zante dancers. I would have done work with the Coconut Drive Artistic Theatre, that is Michelle Pilgrim, in Trinidad, and I would have also performed with Malik Folk Performing Company in Trinidad. I've had the opportunity to travel with the Tobago House of Assembly on several occasions, marketing folk dance all around the world. I was a cultural and dance exhibitor at the World Travel Market for 3 years, 2015 to 2017. And that's basically me. I am now on the verge of going into things like youth development advocacy, and I see myself as a creative artist and cultural enthusiast.
Beautiful, Shaquille. I'm impressed.
Thank you, Shaquille. We have an impressive panel.
That is where the future is supposed to be going, and I'm happy. At least when I reach 95, I could come to a dance show and see dance. So we have to build you all up. Well, we're not done yet because we have to leave one of the best for that. I call him a tall man with the moves. I call him a tall man with the legs. I call him a tall man with the flair. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sherrod Reed.
Welcome.
Good night.
Good night. Just like the rest of them, could you give us a little brief synopsis about your career, your dance experience here in Trinidad?
Yes. So I started off dancing at school at Shawana South Secondary under Sherrod Mason and Adrian Daniel doing hip hop and I think is ballroom dancing. And then I went on to dancing with Cleaver Charles with Our People Theatrical Horizon and Kevon Foster as well. And after I went to the University of Trinidad and Tobago, where I completed my bachelor's degree in performing arts. After that I went to Geoffrey Ballet School. I got a summer scholarship there. Did the summer intensive there. It was wonderful. Came back to Trinidad. Also, I recently got a next scholarship from Geoffrey Ballet School, which is a year scholarship, and also a summer intensive scholarship from the school as well. And I'm just currently dancing. I'm currently dancing with Diego Martin Footprints Cultural Performers and the Oscar Johnson Repertory. And I'm just teaching. I teach at dance class in Couva. Well, I teach all over. I teach pelt, sometimes whining, and gyration.
Yes, we have seen that.
I taught last year, Best Village. One of my pieces came to the Creative Freestyle. What else again? I'm just dancing and working and just teaching basically at the moment. So yeah.
Impressive again.
All right, guys. Well, we have a very, very impressive and talented and well-versed experience. I mean, all these adjectives we could use to describe these young men on this panel tonight. And you notice it's an all-male panel, so the issues that we'll be dealing with would be dance, yes, but it would be those issues that affect our male dancers. Now, before we get into the juice, I just want to find out from you all, male dancers, have you all had the opportunity to experience a lot of male dance teachers? Because we tend to emulate who teach us, right? So from your own experience, can you all just give me a little idea of the proportion or the ratio of teachers that you would have had that were male and female, or if it was all male, mostly female, I don't know. Could you just give us a little idea of that makeup of your dance teachers?
In terms of my dance background with pertains to my male teachers, most of them were actually male. Terry David, Andre Lager, while I was at UE, um, Terry Springer, who is teaching me presently at GTT. Um, most of them were male dancers. The only female dance teachers that I had were Deborah Martin and Carol Adongo while I was in school, and also Shuma Burke at IBC Performers. But most of them were dominantly male dance tutors.
Right, nice.
Yeah.
Jared, you too?
Yes, most of my dance teacher were mostly male. Sharon Mason, Adrian Daniel, Cleavers Charles, McKeven Foster, Terry Springer, Terry David, even Gregor Brady, Alinton Siri. So yes, mostly male dancers.
Male teachers. Okay. I was
Yeah,
actually
male teachers, sorry, yes.
there. What about you, Diamond?
I have I would say I had a fair share of both male and female. In terms of when I just started coming out into the dance aspect, I would have like females at first, and as I got older, then I had like males, and then like going to Caribbean School of Dance where it would have rep. There would be like male and female teaching, so I would say a fair share.
All right, okay.
Zidane,
are you hearing? The screen is frozen a little.
Zidane, are you hearing us? Mr. Whitler,
Shaquille, what about you? Your experience?
I had a balance, I would say a balance, because I was taught by Richard Reed, Clarence Nurse, Jesse Taylor, Elvis Ratchman. I've learned from Kirsten Trim as well. And more males and females actually, because the females are really Diane Reed and Karen Wilkie Charles, and I would have learned some stuff from Miss Allen Alfred. So those were like females, but it was more males than females to me.
Okay, so it's actually safe to say that we have a lot of male tutors. Yeah?
For me, I found that most of my male encounters with teachers would have been people who would have come into either intensives or with stuff like that. But I say dancing home here in Trinidad, most of my teachers were females. Only if I would have done a show and there was a male choreographer, then I would have been taught by that male. But to say have a male mentor teacher, no, I had more females.
Okay, but then in general, guys, could you all tell me if you all think we have enough? We all had male teachers, but in terms of dance across the board, you all think we have enough male teachers teaching dance? Because a lot of people would have experienced females having groups and whatever. But do you all think we have enough male teachers available for the male dancers that we may have coming out into the dance community? Somebody's phone is still making a crackling sound.
In my opinion, I think it's subjected to the genre of dance that you're looking at, because like in folk, you don't it may be balanced, whereas opposed in contemporary you get more females. In ballroom you'll get a balance. So like it depends for me. That's just my opinion. I think it depends on what style of dance you're really looking at. I could only speak for the styles that I would have been trained in. Most of them I don't think that there is enough male teachers for men especially. That's just for my with regards to my career thus far, that what I would have gone through. I would have liked for me to have more male dance teachers, and I would like to see that now as well. That's just me.
Well, we have a nice little quorum here, so we have a nice little core group of choreographers, potential great choreographers here. So I see Mariba has gone off screen again. I'm not sure what is going on. Let me see. Mariba. Okay, here we go. Okay, good. So Mariba, could you give us a little idea about, I know you went on screen a while ago, about your experience in terms of having male teachers, and if you think there are enough male teachers
There, in my opinion, yes, I think that there are enough male teachers. Yes. Um, yeah, I think there are enough, but should it or can it have more? Yes.
Okay. What about your experience, guys, in terms of, we talk about male tutors. Most of you all said you had enough male
One
tutors.
second.
Mhm.
Don't get it mixed up with teachers and choreographers. Okay, because your choreographer might be male who choreograph dance for you, but the teacher is the person who give you the initial technical training. And in Simeon's case, he might have met a lot of male choreographers, but he said that he was taught by Swain, which is female. So that's what we're talking about, right? You know, when we're saying female, we're not meaning people who have taught you choreography, but more or less people who have give you the first technical training.
Yeah.
I mean, well, coming from Tobago, I would say there is need for more male teachers on the island. I mean, I would have mentioned quite a couple names, but those persons they're still functioning within the cultural arena, but not in the capacity of teaching. And you know, some of them would have migrated, like parents would have migrated. Richard is no longer involved like he used to be. Elvis is now doing it from an administrative standpoint. So, I mean, they would pitch in from time to time, but in terms of having steady male foundations within you to teach, I think there is need for more, especially in Tobago.
Okay. Sherrod, in terms of your
I can agree with that.
Yes, Carson.
I'm not hearing you properly.
To talk on what Shaquille was saying. You hearing me?
Yes.
Yes, we are. The whole of Trinidad and Tobago here, and you speak up.
Right. Coming from Moruga, there was no dance teachers in Moruga. Speaking for myself, I had to literally come out of my area, which is like literally about 2 hours, to reach to San Fernando, which is the closest I had at the point in time or available to me to study and learn dance. In Moruga, there was, and I believe Liana herself is probably the only teacher, and that may be a little unsure, but as far as I know, she's the only teacher right now that is literally facilitating dance and dance knowledge in the Moruga area. I would have been told that before they would have been dance teachers, but these were not names that I grew up hearing. These were not things I grew up seeing. Yeah, and the years that they were talking about were my parents' age, which were maybe 40 years ago. Coming to where it is right now, I think there is a much need for dance teachers in the, let me say, rural areas. And I think if it is that we are using SOCA TV for the branch of culture, there's only so much that is given to rural areas. And I could be going a little off because Sandy Grande is very far up there and maybe considered a rural area, but there are provisions for students in schools and in even primary schools. And I think we are losing a lot when we focus strictly on the north. That's why there may be such little in the south. And I believe that there could be more.
Little in the south, and most of these dancers here from the south.
And focus on the north.
And out of these dancers, how much more do we know?
No, but you say focus on the north, but you know, talent is passed and thrown like seeds to grow. And if the north have grown a lot, we can't really help that. But let's go ahead. So then, let's say what you want to say.
You could repeat the question one more time, please.
Basically asking if you have had female or male teachers, not necessarily choreographers who you would have dealt with during your years of dance. I'm talking about your teachers who actually taught you your first set of technique. Were they female or were they male?
I would say a balance. Being a diverse dancer, I had 2 Kathak male teachers and and 2 Kathak female teachers.
Okay.
For contemporary, I have one male teacher and a female, that's LaShawn Prescott and Terry Springer. For folk, I have Terry David, and for ballet, I have Nancy Herrera.
Okay, so you have a nice balance. I know that the army teachers
Big,
UTT.
but here them names you call.
So guys, I also
And Sat Balkaransing as well. And Sat Balkaransing as well.
Well, you're big.
Perfectly trained with.
Okay, that was my Indian dance teacher as well. Let me let you know. I did that with him. Anyways, guys, I also want to find out. We talk about male tutors, male teachers, and female teachers. What about male peers? Have you all ever been in a dance class when where there are majority females in the class? Have that ever impacted your dance or your experience? Would you have liked it to be different? You know, sometimes you're the only person. What is your experience in your different classes you would have taken?
Diamond?
My experience, I have never felt any type of way because I've seen girls that dance really stronger than myself, and they have a lot of confidence. And I have a lot of girls that I look up to, like on the dance floor, and it's really amazing to see them. So I don't have an issue with being or feel any type of way of being in a room with them or dancing with them, because I believe in feeding off of energy, and you have to be around people who could dance and stuff. You have to be able to put forward a lot of stuff and bring stuff together. So I would say yes. I don't have any issue with being amongst girls or more, or anything like that.
Jamal?
My experience where that is concerned, I've mostly had classes with more female counterparts, only in other instances where I was probably doing a ballet exam or something of that sort where there were more men involved, but mostly it was female. And I don't think this had a negative impact on me. I think it had a positive impact because of the tutors that I have experienced in my lifetime, which is Terry David, Angela Jet, Terry Springer, coming from certain backgrounds, learning different genres. It was never an issue because they always imparted on me that although you're performing among females, it's important to be male. And that has always been something that has been sounded to me ever since performing. And it always stuck with me.
Good words of wisdom there. It's important, all around females, it's important to be male.
We can into that in a little more detail in a while.
Kevon?
What was the question? I had a little internet glitch
there.
What was
How come you don't have these issues with that?
So Kevon, if it has been your experience, Simeon, you really join yourself. Kevon, we're asking if it has been your experience, being lone male or probably, having a few male dancers in a class, because dancers usually a lot of females, and if that has impacted your dance experience in your classes.
I mean, most times, or in my experience, I was the only male in the dance group among a lot of females, but it really never diminished my capacity to perform as a male. I had male tutors who would have shown me what it is to dance like a man, and with that influence and going through with that, I kept reminding myself of those teachings. Also, being around females, I had the opportunity to say, or not to say, sorry, what am I saying? To do what they would call a show off with my manly attributes, being the only boy in a space with all the girls, being able to show your strength, show your vigor, show your vitality. And I use that. I use that a lot. And that would have come from my training with that would have influenced me in dance throughout.
What about you, Sherrod?
Most of my classes Yes, most of my classes, even in school, I was the only male. So I think with regards to that, it made me just push myself harder. And working with to a lot of male teachers, they always tell me to work 10 times harder if you're in a class with mostly females, because you tend to forget yourself and you just, I don't want to say dance like a female, but you become a lazy dancer in a sense like that. And I think with regards to that, it just made me who I am today, and it just always the statement always pushed me to do greater, basically. So yeah.
Mariba, what has been your experience?
So most of my experience, of course, or the earlier part of my experience is I would have been the only male dancer. And this is coming from a place of where church, Christianity, and also any secular world. And I don't mean to offend anyone if a person's are feeling offended. So at the beginning, I did feel uncomfortable to a certain extent because I wasn't too sure what I was getting myself involved with. But I just happened to like this thing called dance. The more I continued going to classes, I was able to differentiate my position and my role in the group as the male. Yes, there were issues of the stereotyping playing a very disturbing part in my early developmental stages of me as a dancer. And when I was actually trained, the first male teacher I had was Angela Jhin. So learning from him and training from him, I was actually able to capitalize and to understand the male figure, that dominant role in the whole company or the chorus of dancers, and um and then I moved on from being doubtful, going to a position or a feeling of being confident and understanding what I needed to do and knowing who I am in the dance groups and also as a male dancer in Trinidad and Tobago.
Very good. Lovely.
Kenson?
Kenson, what about you? Kenson, are you hearing us?
I think, yeah, I am. In my experience with artistic dance theater first, Liana had made it clear to the male dancers. I would have been there by myself as the only male dancer, performing wise, for about a year and a half, 2 years. But her teaching was always, and her words were always, don't be dainty. Um, don't dance dainty. What that registered to me was that I always have to dance strong and attack the moves with conviction. When I moved to SOCA, Arlington always had a problem with male dancers dancing too soft. And he would always say, we tend to forget what male dancers are supposed to be. We are not to outshine the females. It was not about that. It was always more about using your masculinity and your strength to help give color and effect to the choreography. Personally, I didn't have problems with these things. At least these things were not told to me. But I think with dance teachers on a whole, like I think it was said before, that is basically what the dance teacher wants you to become and what they would allow in their classroom. If it is being taught that this is what I want from you and this is what's expected, it is your duty as a dancer to showcase what the dance teacher is what would like to be displayed. So yeah.
Okay, Zidane, could you give us a little idea about your experience? Are you the lone male in your groups?
Well, again, yes, definitely. I am the only male in my private group outside. And just to add to what Shaquille and Kenson was saying, for me personally, I find it's a disadvantage working in an environment with female dancers because me being a male, it's hard to get the clarity and the definition of being a male, right? To differentiate being a male in dance, right? And me going to female dancers to say, hey, show me this movement. I am going to copy them. If you understand what I'm saying, right? So that's my experience. It's difficult not having like other male dancers to be a guide for myself to know what I'm doing. Luckily, I have worked collectively with some of these male artists here, and it has truly been impactful experience with them.
Great.
Well, guys, that was very well answered. I mean, you all are so eloquent. I mean, dancers with brain. Congratulations. You really did well. You making me proud? Okay, we need to talk now. We have to get into the nitty-gritty. Now, sometimes you want to talk about issues, but you don't have a supportive person to talk with. Do you find yourself in those kind of situations? There's nobody to because male dancers, well, coming from I find male dancers are always lonely until they see each other. And when they see each other, oh my God, a show off party. So do you find yourself wanting to discuss issues that always have a problem with nobody there to support what you have, the issues you have in mind? Don't all rush at one time to answer. Let's go, Kevon.
For me, lonely, no, because of the environment in which I was in or placed in when I was learning to dance. The females around were very supportive and understanding of what I was going through. And it's not that they weren't males, it's just that the males were always very older than me. And in the traditional sense, in growing up, you have your cliques and they tell you a child is supposed to remain in a child's place. And I would find myself hovering with the people that were around my age. If I had some sort of issue to clarify in terms of anything to do with sexuality, those persons were there. The males were there and they would listen and they would say and guide accordingly. But in terms of just generally discussing issues, I would have found myself in the community of dancers who were there with mostly females.
Lucky you. Simeon?
Yeah. I wanna before I answer this, the question that you would have asked before, I spent a lot of time thinking about it, and for me, I feel like, fortunately, under the tutelage of Judy, I was taught that there are not many people that would say there are male movements and female movements. So when I was taught at the beginning to give us a foundation, okay, as a movement, you can do the same movements as the doing, but just fist your hands to become a movement. And it was at that moment where she said that I had grasped the basic understanding of dance. It was where she told me that, hey, in everything there is balance. So the aspect of being a male dancer is physical and being in the space as opposed to the movement. So she never really limited me to say, okay, you have to only learn male movements or you have to do this very masculine, because if it is, she was preparing me to teach. And if it is, I was only learning male movements, then I would have had a limited vocabulary. So fortunately for me, and then when Terry taught me, he told me, he was like, hey, movement is movement. Only if it is the choreographer specifically says he wants that movement to be exaggerated or he wants that movement to have a little more strength, then it's applied. But to say, I had that issue differentiating the different male movements and female movements. No, it was just a matter of the characteristics of the movement, not the movement itself, but the characteristics. I feel like it's very important that we have a mixture of male and females, because most of the movements in choreographies, especially in folk, are considered female. Well, most people may say female movements because the males really only come on for a particular stipulated period of time. We don't come on for the entire dance. So that's why they don't necessarily say it's a male dance as opposed to female dance. It's dance on the whole, then you have a male segment. So fortunately for me, I was taught that way. So that eradicated the male as opposed to female movements. With regards to the other question, the question that you just asked, for me, I find for me personally, interactions with male dancers, it's a touchy scenario, and it's simply because we lack in numbers. Whereas opposed to with companies, you find 15 female dancers per company minimum. We find one male dancer. So when that one male dancer is accustomed being the only male dancer, and he goes to a public forum and he sees another male dancer, he doesn't necessarily know how to respond to that. And most people, John Public, will push competition. So automatically, if it is that male dancer doesn't have his head on, he's going to think, okay, cool. They're going to compare him and I. So to avoid that, I'm just going to pull away. So in my prior, in the beginning of my dance career, I would have gotten a lot of that because I started dancing with another male dancer, and he was the brains in the company. You know, he's a doctor now. You know, so he was the brains of the company. So everyone would have kind of pinned us against each other. So I always felt like, you know what, I didn't really necessarily want to be a part of a male space because it's always competitive, and that's where the birth of my competitiveness would have come from, because all male dancers have that level of competition. It is just how it's channeled, you know. So only in growing I realized how to apply it and when to apply it and when to be casual. So that's me.
Nice. Jhin, you had any issues but didn't have a support to go to, person to talk with? Because I know you work under Satbal Pransing, and he's a very supportive person. But let's say your side.
You can repeat that one more time. There was a glitch in my internet.
Right. Do you find that you have issues to speak about, but there's no supportive person to listen to you? How do you deal with things like that?
To be very honest, me having male dancers, they completely understand what is to go through, to have issues, if you understand what I'm saying, right? In terms of like being differentiated again of being a male dancer, right? Where Stadbal helped me with that is that your personality, your characteristic speaks a lot, not only on stage, but outside of stage. The way you present yourself has a lot to do with your name, your reputation.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, I would take that. Yeah. Let's hear what Mr. Sharon would have to say. Sharon? Sharon? You're up. You remember the question?
Yeah, can you repeat the question? There's a like, yeah, there's a like, not glitch, but like.
Listen carefully. I feel like I'm a universe host.
No,
I was just about to say that the dancers feel like it's going to
there's like some
for Mr. Universe. I swear.
No,
These are the problems we have in the community.
Everybody nervous.
You have had issues and you had nobody to support that support structure to listen to what you want to say. Do you find yourself having problems with that? You want to state certain things, but you don't have a support system to listen?
Not really. I don't have any problems with regards to that, but I think the problem no, I don't really have any problems. I think the problems is what our community basically and Trinidad has to fix. Not us, because we can just do so much, you know, as in to help Trinidad and Tobago. So yeah.
Okay. Kenson, sorry.
I personally believe that I personally no. I didn't have a problem. I think for me, I was going to do what I feel best and allow the teacher to guide me in the direction. Sometimes for someone like me who tends to jump ahead of certain things and want to do something and I'm not really prepared as yet, I often have to get pat down just a little bit from time to time until I am there or I'm ready. So I wouldn't say that I didn't get the support from whomsoever. I think where the teachers are concerned, I think I think they were just waiting for me to be fully prepared so I don't make it of myself.
Okay. Diamond.
Yeah, very good.
Diamond, like we harassing you. Diamond, what about you? Have you had personal issues that you know, as a male dancer and you want to tell somebody about it, but you know, you never had a support system? Is that your case, or you had people around that you could approach?
So I would second what Zidan said. And I would personally say that not everybody wants the same thing. And yes, I have had a lot of issues and I voice my stuff. I don't have a problem with putting out my voice there and letting people know that, hey, okay, just if you have an opinion, I have an opinion just the same way because I am who I am. And if I choose to say dance, I could do both. If, like, for example, if I'm dancing and if you're dancing in a choreography and a choreographer gives you certain movements, it is natural. For me, it is natural that you would do things as a male, right? For, like, especially in our culture, it is natural. I don't know for anybody else, but I know for me personally. And I don't really have an issue with dancing and going into being around certain people or anything like that and putting forward something and anything like that. So I would say that all for me, it doesn't matter. And I think that yes, we have a lot of issues due to male, a lot of backlash and everything that thing. But it's all up to you to voice what you have to say. Because if you stay quiet, it will continue going on.
This leads me to my next question. I want to know, Jamal, well, from everybody, if you have had support initially from your families. Did your family members ever discourage you from pursuing dance as whether it be a pastime or a career? Were they ever opposed to you? Like, were they suggesting that you take up a sport instead? Like, okay, why you don't try football? Why you don't try basketball? What about cricket? Have they ever discouraged you from pursuing dance, or did they encourage you? Jamal?
In my experience growing up, my mom, she isn't any stranger to dancing because when she was younger, she also was a dancer herself. And she also happened to know Terry David because he was one of her tutors as well. And she was always like, okay, Jamal, you're gonna dance, make sure you go with Terry David. She was hell bent that I started dancing with Terry David because she knew that I'd have been safe, that he would have been a good tutor for me. And I always thank her for encouraging me. As long as it's pertaining to dance, she always says yes, go for it. She supports me 100%. She's my rock, the strength behind my everything. All the way. My mother always supported me.
Like we in church, yes, man. What about you, Mariba?
Okay, so for me, I definitely had the support of my mother only for a while because she was the one that she is familiar with the arts. She is I would call her or categorize her as that one favorite audience member who's there every single year, conquest for Best Village. She could have told me exactly how it started, what certain dancers and certain choreographers would have done. So my mother was that main person who supported me. Eventually, when I started to go to UE, that's when my family realized that dance is something that I really wanted to do. But between starting to UE time, they didn't really discourage me. No, I didn't get any discouragement at all. They were just very silent about it, and I believe they were silent because of the lack of information that they knew about dance and being a male in Trinidad and Tobago.
So when you started pursuing this as a career, they encouraged you? They were okay with it?
They were okay with it, and they were very supportive. There were one or two shows that I would have encouraged them to come out to, and they came. Even up to today, if I put a ticket in their bedroom and say you have to come, they will come.
Okay, so good. You have support. Lovely. Sharon, what about you?
Sharon, with regards to me, you hear me? Yeah, I'm hearing you guys.
Yeah, parents, teachers. You always had that support?
Just only my mother. Basically, my mother. My mother was basically my support financially. She couldn't really come to like look at me perform or come to any of my performances. So I was just basically on my own. Whoever come. I would just invite whoever to come. Well, who I would like to come the show. If they come, they will come. If they didn't come, well, I didn't really have an issue because I know the situation that I was in and still now. So yeah, just my mom.
Guys, before Diamond put on a performance, let's hear what Diamond have to say. Diamond, you put on a performance. Diamond, let us hear what you have to say about that.
Diamond, let me hear you. You had your parents, teachers were always supporting you.
I never did dance through school, but my grandmother was never supportive of it. My mom was. But up to this day, my grandmother still doesn't find it. She doesn't know. But I have seen pictures with her through Best Village already, and I've never really asked her questions. But she doesn't support it right at this moment. But my mom used to. So my mom thing.
Yeah. Condolences. We heard that she passed recently. My condolences
from the whole of SOCA family.
Well, apart from that, it's just about it. Same thing like what Sherrod said. I've like, if I have show or anything, I would like never be a big deal if anybody come, because I've just learned to deal with things like that. Like whoever come or whoever, it's not a big deal. So it's normal.
So far, I'm only hearing mothers. Thank God for mothers.
Hello.
What about you? Yeah. Parents, teachers, school friends, family members. Did they ever give you any problems? Were they supportive or not? Zidane?
Sorry about that.
Repeat the question.
At the start of my dance,
I died.
Let's keep
I was going to call in an interpreter. Go ahead.
Sorry.
You need to stop.
Let's keep having this question over.
So at the beginning of my dance career, no, my parents were not supportive. But eventually I learned to deal with it because the stereotype of dance only being a female thing, they never believed it was something for me. But now pursuing a degree and they have learned to accept it, they realize it's something that it's for me. Not everybody wants to be a doctor, everybody wants to be a lawyer, and everybody wants to be, an engineer. But there's different fields for everybody in this life, and they have honestly learned to just accept it and let it be. So I'm really grateful for that.
Sweet. Simeon, you always had support, even up to the point of a career? Because I know some of us do it as a hobby, but to the point of having dance as a career, have you always had that support from teachers, parents?
For me, it was a bit weird because before dance, I was a national tennis player, and my family, like my uncle, was my coach and everything like that. So making that transition from a sports person, I was heavily involved in sports in high school. Into dance. My mom, she was not someone to be negative about it, but I think she knew that I didn't make stupid decisions, so she was patient. She wanted to see what would have happened through it. My father's very silent, so it's like wherever it is with me, it is. My sisters, I have 2 sisters and a brother. My sisters, they once in a while they would come and support me when they can because our work schedule would clash. They would come and support me, but to say I think it was neutral. I don't think they were not supportive, and I don't think they were very supportive. My mother, when she realized it was something that I really wanted, where she could have, she supported. Maybe giving me the money because I'm from South, as you all know, deep South. So she would have not been able to physically support me in a show, but for me, I looked at the support as financial, so that's really how it was for me with regards to my dance teacher. It's a bit funny because I felt like I still feel this way, like my dance teacher supports me. My first dance teacher, she supports me, but I would like more. You know, as a student, you would like to see your dance teacher in the audience looking at you, so that revolution in dance happens, and they see it. I don't necessarily get that, but I know if I post something, she would like and share. But for me, if you're really on my side supporting me, I need more than just virtual support. You know what I mean? I need come to one or two of my shows. So that's how I feel about my dance teacher, my peers, and that's my family.
All right. Well, good for you. Some people have, better experiences than others. I myself have come from a very academic family, and of course, they expect me to be.
This is not about female
we
people.
understand
It's
all
about
of that.
the I'll tell you as the
I know that's what she tell you, but it's the men tonight, Mindy.
Shaquille, you I know you did your degree in international relations, you said?
Whoa. Yes.
Right. I know that I'm not sure if your family expected you to go down the academic road, or were they always supportive about you as a dancer and probably pursuing it as a career?
My family was always very supportive. I'm actually born into a family of dancers. My aunts, uncles, grandparents, they would have participated strongly in Heritage and Best Village, and they would have traveled extensively. So my family is an artsy family. So they were always very supportive. They would come to shows. And when they can't come to shows, they would always finance me so that I could take part when I need help with costumes and that type of thing. They would always pitch in. They would always congratulate me and remind me of how good I'm doing where dance is concerned. With regards to me pursuing international relations, I always saw myself as a person that can do more than just dance. I had other interests, although dance at a young age, dance was fun for me. It's what I wanted to do, and it's what I developed a passion for. But I always wanted to set myself above the rest. And I had other interests, and politics and economics and these type of conversations would have always intrigued me. So I went down the road. I also had the dream of becoming an ambassador at a point in time. So I went down the road of pursuing international relations. But my family was always supportive of me and anything that I do.
Nice, very nice.
Great. Guys, I want to remind our viewing audience that you can begin to send in your voice notes. Whether it be comments or questions, you can send your voice notes to 319, 8100. That is 319-8100. Please send your voice note or any questions that you may have for the panel.
Well,
make it nice and short and to the point, okay, guys?
Well, guys, basically, from a male dance point of view, my mom was very supportive. My father wasn't. So I understand what half of you all went through, and I am listening to you all, and I know you all are going to make it big one day, all of you all here, and I hope you all will actually be the initial national dance company of Trinidad and Tobago because we have a lot of talent there on the screen, and you all are in line for that title, the male dancer of the National Dance Association of Trinidad, the National Dance Company of Trinidad and Tobago. So keep going, and your next question, don't all rush to answer.
Oh Lord.
Fine having to keep your dance life a secret, in fear of being teased and harassed by your peers? Do you all find yourself having to keep your dance life a secret? Like, okay, let's go. You're in a situation where you're on the avenue, lineman with a whole set of footballers, and they ask, what do you do? Would you feel confident enough to come out and say, I'm a dancer in front of them? So, okay, so all right, Kevon, let's go.
I mean, I am my personality is one that breeds boldness, and I am not ashamed of who I am and the things that I do. And I have a group of friends that they are in different professions, and I would never be ungrateful to dance. All of my opportunities to travel would have come from dance. And therefore, I'm always happy to let people know what I do, because some people just see it as something, you go here, you dance the Heritage, you dance the Best Village. But I think people tend to forget how, not dance, but the performing art in general shape the society. And I think the role that I play with respect to my contribution is one that is integral. And I I'm never ashamed to tell people that I dance because I love to do it. It is a part of who I am. It is about me understanding where I come from and where I intend to go, and dance have afforded me that opportunity in terms of understanding that. And the contributions that I give to society, I am able to do it all through dance. I am never ashamed. I always tell people, I'm a dancer, I'm a performer. And, yeah, I do that.
Go ahead along the line, Simeon. Simeon.
Yeah, I kind of share the same sentiments with Kevon. Would have never been one to be ashamed because most people know that, okay, yeah, Simeon dance, so it goes hand in hand with me. So I have never been one to hide. Dancers have also afforded me the pleasure of seeing the world without purchasing a ticket for myself. So I think for me, I personally think I owe the art from that respect to unapologetically say, yes, I am a dancer without feeling any sort of way about it. And I believe, okay, how you bring that across to your peers is how they're going to respect you. If I say, hey, here's what, I'm a dancer. You're going to either you respect me or you don't. If you don't, everyone is not going to be the same. You know what I mean? I agree with it, but that's not my concern. Whether you like, that's not my concern. I dance, I'm a dancer, and whether you like it or not, that's how it's going to be.
Okay, Jhin.
Well, fully agreeing with Shaquille and Simeon, of course. I am definitely not ashamed of dance. I'm not ashamed of telling people I am a background of dance. It is who I am, right? And it is who I am forever going to be. So yeah, I'm not ashamed. It is definitely something I'm proud of, right? All my experiences, all my, everything has been dance, dance, dance. So I'm definitely not ashamed.
What about you, Carson? If somebody come up and ask you if you what is your profession?
Kenton?
Carson?
His audio is mute and he isn't aware, I think.
Oh, he's not hearing?
I think his audio is mute.
Kenson?
No, his volume is not mute.
No, his volume is not mute. Kenson, are you hearing us?
Yeah,
No?
Okay, Jamal,
He
you
hearing
can
us,
go ahead and let us
know.
Jamal, you can go ahead.
Dungeon here, and maybe the signal is maybe not coming through.
So he touches mic by mistake.
You touch your mic by mistake, but go ahead. And you remember the question?
Greg walking. Oh my gosh!
Yes, I do remember the question.
It's 8 of you all in a row. So go ahead, keep it coming.
I did not have a problem. From a young age, I have always been in the arts. So I think when I started dancing, it just became an extension of what I did or what I do now. So it was always like, okay, cool. So you do dance now. So what happened? No problem. That's basically who he is or who I have been known to be. If it is I were to walk up to somebody who don't know me at all and I were to let them know what my profession is, I've never had that because I've never gotten no backlash in the early stages. So it is not something that I have a fear of sharing. So that's just with me.
But Mariba, I know when I see you, I see dance. So you can't tell nobody I am not. You come out today and say I'm a footballer, your feet always in 5th position and your hands always in the upper. So let us know. How do you feel about the question?
Okay, how I feel. Then before I answer the question, I just want to say I used to do athletics before dance. I have never been ashamed or had to hide it. Gregor, yes, you're right. The minute someone sees me walking or even talking, the first question they will ask is if I'm a dancer. So to add to the question, my issue was never about hiding it. My issue or concern was persons actually respecting it in the sense of if he can dance. That was always I will put battle in a conversation with persons to not necessarily convince them, but for them to know, okay, I can dance or I have been dancing.
Okay, nice. Excellent. Take it on, Sharon. You in the same boat as Mariba, you know.
Oh my God. I find you come out to throw shade tonight, you know, Mr. Brady.
I find you a little quiet there, you know, so I have to shake on you up and get it kind of like.
It will come.
You know, speaking talk, you know, females have a way we can express. So, go on, next year, Sharon. Sharon? Yes, you heard the question? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I heard the question. Right. I don't know. It's just a lot of breaking up happening. Like it's just breaking up, and I'm hearing properly. But yeah, before I started dancing, I was actually an athlete. I was a runner, and I used to do badminton as well. I was never ashamed or, never ashamed of what I do or dance. I always whining and dancing since I small. So, and up to this day, I always whining and dancing everywhere I go.
Yeah,
And
sure.
people, it brings joy to people. With regards to that, when people see me dance, it brings joys. It brings joys to them, and I always attract people when I start dancing. Even any dancer, basically, if they go anywhere and they start to dance, people don't know, well, that's a dancer, and they just attract a crowd, basically. So I love expressing myself, dancing, and doing whining, yeah. Never ashamed. So yeah.
I said I had some young boys who came. They're new dancers, and they came and they saw you dance the first time, and they were like, "So look at that tall boy dancing," and they were very impressed. So that's good. That's very good. You really put out something there. Well, let's go to my ballroom guy. How you doing, Jamal? Up there?
I'm great. For me, I never give up the opportunity to say that I'm a black new dancer. I love saying it every time I get the opportunity. Even though I came from a background that was fused with martial arts, and I do a lot of resistance training in the gym. Just 2 days ago, a lady walked up to me in the gym. She was like, "Hi, do you dance?" I was like, "Yes, I do." She was like, "I can see it, the way you move." And I was just walking around the gym, cruising, doing stuff. And I'm always proud to say that I am a dancer. Always proud.
Well, Diamond, if you come up here and say that you was a national youth football, you guys have great talents before dancing.
Yes.
That's coming up next. Diamond, what about you?
Oh my God.
Diamond, what were you before?
I used to run too as well. So I used to run 100 meters.
Any good? So you used to run in primary school, or you actually used to compete?
Where is the run from? What is the run?
Hey, leave me alone now. As I was saying. Yes, but I never ever. Oh God, who don't know me don't want to know me. I was dancing, I was doing something. I love it.
So where you used to run this 100 meters? In primary school or secondary school?
I used to run in secondary school.
Oh, and what was the time like? So I will tell you if it made a good move by dropping out. What was the time in 100 meters? What was it look like?
Oh boy.
It was good.
It was good. It was good.
It was a good time. It was a good time.
All right, guys. So we're gonna get a voicemail coming up, a voice note coming up just now. As soon as our producer organizes that. In the meantime, I want to ask you now. People know you all. A lot of people know you all in the dance community would know you all as a dancer. And they might identify you all with specific genres of dance. I want to know how you would identify yourself. What is the type of dancer you would call yourself? Is it a folk dancer, modern dancer, contemporary Indian dancer? What do you think is your forte? And in addition to that, I know all of us, we have studied dance, all of us in this forum. I want to know which one would have been your most challenging.
Because I was trying to find you and I didn't know look it.
Yeah, I want to know, again, what you would identify as, what type of dancer you would call yourself, as well as what was your most challenging genre of dance for you to learn and perform. Jamal, yes, let me hear you.
I honestly can't put my finger on one in particular because I've had a lot of experience, as Gregor mentioned before I started with ballroom, which I no longer really do anymore, but I'm capable of doing it. I've learned a lot from Terry David, and coming up, I've grown to love a lot of contemporary styles. I think I more gravitate towards the contemporary style because it's limitless in terms of what can be done. Although I have my love for every other genre of dance, I seem to love contemporary more. As it pertains to the most difficult pain in the genre, ballet is not my favorite at all. It's difficult, especially for someone like me who is into body. Well, I don't want to say bodybuilding, but resistance training and stuff. It's difficult with ballet because of the technique and what it does to the body.
Okay. Sharon, what about you? Your genre of dance and what's your most difficult genre to execute? Sharon, you hearing us?
Sharon?
I think.
Oh no. Hello, yeah.
We heard you, yeah.
We hearing you.
Yes. Coming from a folk background, I will say my strongest genre of dance is folk, but now I've been gravitated to jazz. I really like jazz and Afro contemporary, and my hardest genre of dance I will say is ballet, because you have to know your body, you have to know where to put your legs, you have to know what muscles you have to use. It's everything you have to remember at once while working all these muscles and bones and everything in your body at the same time. So I think that was just the hardest genre of dance for me. But I love ballet as well. So yeah.
Mariba, what about you? When I see you, I only see legs in the air like that. But tell us what is your favorite genre, what you want us to identify you as.
Okay, so my favorite genre, of course, modern dance. The one that is most challenging for me is folk dance, and not because I can't do it, it's because of the lack of or the little contact experience of doing folk. But I'm pretty sure if I apply myself or if I put in the time, I will be pretty okay in doing folk.
He's very good though.
When you know you're in Trinidad, you have to know our culture.
But I've seen you
dance. New things come in after COVID, so you may see me involved in some folk groups or folk pieces.
I've seen you dance folk and you could dance folk, and I think for me, I think you're a better folk dancer. You just need a tutor. You get a folk tutor, if you get Terry David or somebody like, when we say Mindy, you'll get it right. I stopped.
Today, how we identify you? What kind of dancer?
Could I say a diverse dancer? But to be honest, I really love all the genre of styles that I do. But my favorite, I would definitely say, is Indian classical Kathak dance.
Which one? They have 8 of them. Which one?
Indian classical Kathak dance.
Which one? No, Joy is 8. There are 8 Indian classical styles. I'm going to call them out to you.
Yeah, to give that sense. You said Indian dance. You're right.
Which one is your favorite? Kathak, Manipuri, Kathak. Okay. Be careful when it's Indian classical, they are different styles. Go ahead.
Different forms, yes. And contemporary, and of course, I really, really love the form, the African folk. I really love that.
Nice.
Really,
So
really
which one
love
is the
it.
most challenging?
My most challenging, I would definitely say, is ballet, because the ballet is so precise. It works a lot of conditioning, and has been one of my challenging form so far, but I love it. It has grown me and developed me as a dancer. I would say, Jamal and Sharod could add to my experience with ballet. But yeah.
Jamal, your eyes open up a little wide there.
So, Simeon?
Yeah.
Simeon.
I don't have a style in specific. I was fortunate to be trained in about 8 different genres of dance. So I think I love dance. So I don't have a specific. If I would say one that people would like seeing me the most in would be either Latin or West African. With that being said, my most challenging genre of dance would actually be West African, and it's basically because authentic West African, traditional West African, I must add, because of the polycentric movement and the diversity in different styles and techniques based on what part of the land it's from. A lot of people just think African dance is just African dance. No, it's not. So with me, because that's what I'm training in, I think West African, it's so hard. So that's the most challenging style for me. But most favorite and that I can be identify my dance. So yeah.
Well, as an audience member, trust me, I love to see you do West African. In particular, we would never know that you have challenges coping with that genre.
Yeah, but most of you all are saying that ballet is most challenging. We haven't finished asking you a question. I think we still have some more to go into. But most of you all are saying ballet is most challenging. Do you think that, just a little throughout here, do you think that you say that because ballet is codified and most of the times you find yourselves in a class where the people are more advanced than you and you start putting yourself in that thing where, oh my God, I have so much to learn and I'm not good. If you start, like when I was learning ballet, Miss Ro used to have me with the little children. I had to start from the bottom. She didn't put me in the class where I was supposed to be, and because of my age. She placed me with the little children, and that is because when you learn it from there, it becomes easy. But if you reach up into intermediate, and because you're
at UTT level, or
UTT level or UE level, and
but the thing about that, though, Mr. Brady, is that I understand what you're saying, but even for me, when I went into my first, a matter of fact, standing up to the dance school, I was not placed based on one, where I think I was, and two, of where I should be. They placed me based on what they know about me as a dancer in the community. So for me, my first class was grade 5, but if you ask me the question, I would definitely like to start with the babies, and I will put on the blue leotard and put on the blue tutus and go with them, because I too agree. But sorry to cut you, but the point I'm trying to say is that sometimes when you sign up for the schools, they don't put you where is beneficial for you for long term. It's just beneficial for you to where you are at, and they will work on it.
I just want to add to that real quick, Gregor. I just want to add to that real quick because I don't think we understand, because what you raised was a very valid point. I don't think we understand that when we are trained for ballet in Trinidad, we are not trained ballet for ballet performances necessarily. We are trained ballet technique. Because when you look at it, we don't have much male ballet classes to say we're learning how to do pas de deux properly, because as a male ballet dancer, that's what you are there for, to do lifts and stuff like that. So I think the ballet dance in most institutions as well, it's to give you that technique. It's to make you become a technician as opposed to make you become a ballet dancer. So it would be different. It is going to be difficult because that's the style of dance. What you have to now do is apply your body to dance, because unfortunately for me, at first I didn't understand the essence of ballet, and I was just trying to do the turn out because I watching these ballet dancers, Varshnikov and all of them, and I'm looking at them with amazing turn out. So I'm turning out from my knee and my ankles, and when I really realized, okay, yes, what, take the technique and apply it to your body, is where I understood, okay, listen to what she's saying, turn out from your hip. You may not have the same turn out that I am going to have, but it's just getting the technique.
Yes.
Well, let me go. I think ballet also is difficult for me. What I would say, just to justify my point, it's because we as a people our folk, our culture, it lends itself to folk dance. Although folk isn't codified as ballet is. Ballet is very mathematical, it's very geometrical. Everything is precise. And I think trying to discipline your body in that way is very difficult because our hips are naturally that open. You know, and that's why I think ballet is difficult for most people of our folk culture.
Yeah.
So if you got a teacher like me teaching you folk, you'll get them same mathematical things in your body, and you'll find folk is hard because when you put for PK, you'll get that ball of the foot on the ground and twist that ankle.
Right.
Because you have to do the correct way. I believe there's a technique, and I know the technique. The technique. But let me go on fast before Diamond self-destruct. Diamond, what? Diamond is giving a whole performance in the back there. Diamond can't stay quiet to the people. He wants to dance. Go ahead, Diamond. Remember the question?
Yes. I would say my strong for me is folk and dancehall. And the challenge that I have had was Kalinda and ballet, because I have had personal training and it was really kind of difficult.
Okay.
Shaquille wanted to say something. Oh, we lost Kenson again.
Shaquille?
I would be identified as a folk dancer. I have a lot of experience in different types of dance, but I would be identified as a folk dancer. My hardest or most difficult one would be ballet as well. And for me, that would be because given that ballet calls for a whole redefining and realignment of the body, and me coming from the folk background, that is not the physical application to movement that is required for folk. And, having to train myself in that region, I would always want to draw back to what I'm accustomed to. And, it's really about putting myself outside of what I know and applying, as Simeon correctly said, training and applying it to, meeting me where I'm at and using that to develop my skill and technical ability is what I would have done to overcome that. But it's still the most difficult one for me.
Well, nice. But guys, we have to go into taboo time. Because the voice note first. Here's the voice note.
Good evening to the panel, gentlemen and Mindy. My question is, as dancers, do you feel that there are enough opportunities in Trinidad and Tobago for you to practice your craft and enhance your career, and why? Thank you.
You all heard it?
Yeah.
Okay. Answer, don't all rush at once.
Yeah,
You guys hear me,
sure.
right? Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
With regards to
Yes,
that,
we are.
there are some opportunities, but from experiences, there are people who there are people who will not allow you that. And for now, in my life, I don't think there is any, but there are people outside who are Trinidadians and making that opportunity for us.
When you say outside, you mean abroad, New York, and America, Europe.
People who's abroad,
International.
who's in Trinidad. Yeah.
Trinidadians
Those are the people,
abroad.
that will, but I will say try and make that opportunity for us.
Anybody else? Not enough experiences or opportunities?
I think the opportunities are quite limited and everything is very seasonal within Trinidad and Tobago. Therefore, with respect to developing craft and developing a mindset of sustainable living, the mindset, but being able to sustainably fend for yourself, that there isn't enough opportunities. I was actually having a conversation with one of my colleagues in the Department of Culture of why not thinking about establishing a performing arts sector whereby we have what is an established dance season, maybe for 8 to 10 months during the year, just as you would see it in any Western culture. I believe that within Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean, we have the opportunity, the talent and capability to establish something like that. I also believe that we as performers need to understand that we also have a responsibility to ourselves to develop that, because being at school at Florida State University and knowing what dance is like out here and looking at what dance is like home, there is nothing that is happening here that can't happen back at home. Why it is that we cannot have a space whereby we have dance conferences just the same way. The region comes from a place of a lot of history, and to translate that history into movement and creativity, there are a lot of people who would have embarked on that. But why not set up these platforms so that we are able to do so and spread the culture to the rest of the world like we will go anywhere else? Where are the policy, and I still lose that really said here, where is the policy to establish and really defend the livelihood of dancers? Where are those policies? Where are those things at that level that would protect and really enable or start a system whereby dancers are able to, do what they love? And just the same way I would be able to go into an office and work at 8 to 5. Why can't I do that with dance? Why I have to wait until Carnival? Why I have to wait until Heritage? Why I have to wait until Best Village? I honestly think that enough is not there. And I know some persons could say we have to do it ourselves. But at the end of the day, the powers that be, we could only do so much, but the powers that be should really work in conjunction with performers to establish those opportunities so that we could do just the same and be just as great, because we have the potential and the capability to do so.
Well answered, boy. You win.
I agree with you.
Okay, next question.
I see a lot of you are shaking your heads. You're in agreement.
All of you are in agreement.
We also
Fully
need
agreed,
to create
yes.
opportunities for ourselves. But I know Shaquille is saying that it is hard. We have one more voice note.
Hey, Diamond, I just want to ask a question. Hey, Diamond, I just want to ask a question. What motivates you to dance, and why do you dance how you do?
All right, we have
Diamond, you're on show now. There's your time.
What motivates you?
Yeah, what perform now?
You must.
Have you ever seen Diamond dance?
Have you all seen Diamond dance? Have you all seen Diamond dance?
Of course.
Yes.
Diamond, when he's dancing. Diamond, let us hear you. What motivates you to dance?
And what?
Especially the way you do.
Diamond, I love the way you dance now, yeah? So you're Sean King's favorite dancer. Go ahead.
The shade.
Yes, Sean in the background. Oh my God.
Hi guys.
You're horrible.
Okay,
So, for those of you who know my mom was dancer queen for 12 years. She have never lost an art competition. So I guess I've always had that kind of spark for dance, right? And from since there, I always used to do everything pertaining to I wanna, make somebody of myself, and I wanna do something different. I always wanna be versatile in dance and stuff. And I was basically doing everything for to have a better life and to show my mom as well that I'm doing something, because she always used to love dance. And if we go out together and anything like that, she would cry and she'd be like, I want to dance and I want to show these girls and show these boys and how it is done. And I would always dance for her. So everything that I was doing and that I am doing is for her. And I dance the way that I dance because I feel comfortable. And I would go back to the fact of telling anyone that everybody's the same, everybody has different goals. And like I said, I am very happy with how I dance, and I like being powerful. I like doing tricks, and I just like doing the most, as you all may know. So that's it for me there. I am just that type of person.
Okay, Diamond.
Well, you need a choreographer who could keep up with you with those things. Very nice answer, though, Diamond, because I saw you. I know you can trick, and I know I've seen you dance powerful. And I must say, I was one of the lucky people to have you train you in the early days, and you have improved tremendously in 3 or 4 years' time, I saw you for Kai Festa and I was in shock. You have improved tremendously. So keep going, and one day I hope you find the right choreographer who could take you and guide you towards that goal that you're thinking about. And people need to respect
Very
other
much
people's
appreciated.
strengths. And if you respect other people's
But that's
strengths,
what
don't try to make everybody the young Mariba or the next Simeon or the next Kevon.
I mean, being a young warrior is not bad. Just saying, but okay.
You have one more
But
question.
you know, I haven't found anyone to really hold me and mold me into that dancer. That's what a very few people like to say, like Simeon, and I've asked Mariba, I've gone to Jamal and Sharon, and them. I'll be like, y'all like teach me something. I have always been behind them for them to teach me.
That
And
is
for
true.
say like somebody to really be behind me, I've never gotten that.
And that's why we need a national dance company.
I want to say, if I'm
all of you all will be together and all of you all will help each other. So I am lobbying for that national dance company.
I'm permitted, Gregor, I want to say one thing.
So you're trying me to shut up?
Yes.
Okay. Terry David, Terry Springer, myself,
and I can.
We are the ones have to lobby for that for you all, and we will. I think we need to get together to lobby for that for you all, because you all are the young generation and you all really need to be placed in a position where you can really show off your stuff and do better for the next generation before you. Go ahead. Who just wanted to ask a question?
I want to say something with regards to Diamond, and it's something that I always say, like, with the panel here, what I tend to do, I always say, what can I take from this dancer that can make me a better dancer? You know what I mean? And one thing I can say about Diamond is that he is someone who, and I think this is what, it's not about being better or worse, but this is what makes him such a charismatic person, and this is what makes him such a person that everyone would want to work with. Diamond stops and asks for corrections from everyone. Now, in specific, the male dancers, Diamond has gone, as he would have just said, Diamond has gone to each and every one of the male dancers and would have asked, okay, you know what, can you help me here? Or can you help me fix this? And I think, in no way am I saying that the rest of us has not ever done that, but I think, because I want to add this to what Kevon was saying with regards to conferences and all of these things. Now, these things are very important, and I agree with every single aspect of what he said. But for me, I always ask myself, how can we operate on an international level when we don't support each other on a local level? There is no way a conference can happen with all the male dancers coming together and us performing or being in the same space if we cannot learn to be in the same space. If we cannot learn to agree to disagree, if we cannot learn that, okay, when we come into the art form, we are all one word, a dancer. Not Simeon or Diamond or Jamal, but a dancer. And that Diamond, he is one of the on the panel here. He is probably the newest dancer to the art form, and I feel like he has that, and that's what we would have. I'm not saying we don't have it, but because we are so focused on performing and or trying to choreograph and or doing so many different things, that level of humility, we all miss it. We have all faltered in at some point, and we all miss it, because the senior dancers, the older dancers, Mariba, myself, Jamal, Kevon, yeah, we see each other and we dance with each other, but it's only when it's on an intimate level. Like Shaquille, the last time I would have performed with you would have been for Catharsis. That was the Baby Contemporary Festival. That was the last time we were able to share with each other and say, okay, Shaquille, you need to work on this turnout a little more. Or Simeon, you know what? Don't throw your arms away with the African dance. Stay with the lines. This is my opinion. That with us, that's what missing. That is what is missing, and Diamond has that. That is the shine that Diamond has, that he brings to the table, that makes him different. My humble opinion. I had to bring that across and acknowledge it, because I feel like when you see a good thing in a male dancer, you have to do it. And that's I think in our culture, and especially with these male dancers, we don't spend enough time doing that. We don't spend enough time saying, hey, you know what, Jamal,
Yeah.
I love how strong you are when you're dancing. Mariba, I love your lines. Kevon, I love that. I love the fact that you're not just a dancer, but you critically think. I feel like that is what's missing from us. Just an observation.
But I mean, I just wanna add to what Simeon is saying, right? Simeon, I understand and I definitely agree in what you're saying. However, what we also need to be very conscious about is that there is something called energy when you walk into a space. So as much as you're right in saying that we need to, it's more or less what you're saying, that we need to actually do it, practice it so that we can get it. But we too, as individuals, we have flaws, and we need to be able to understand and know what these flaws are and not come into the space with it. So we also have to be very conscious of what we give off, what we say, what we transcend to other persons, because it causes them to react. So we have to do this self-development, and we have to come to some sort of realization that, hey, I may say this or I may do this, and it could cause a reaction from somebody else in this space.
Well, honestly, I saw these guys. It was Jamal, Mariba, Kadeem, and Kevin at the Carrie Festa audition. I feel proud. You all mashed up. You all remember that audition for Carrie Festa in
Yeah, we did.
You all were amazing. And there was nothing negative I could say about any one of you all. It was 4 different techniques, 4 different styles, and you all brought something to that stage. And I still don't understand why people are not lobbying for a national dance company where we will get all these guys to work together. Because at that Carrie Festa, I saw the girls and the guys. And boys, you had me proud. I thought I was watching America Got Talent. You all were amazing. And it feels good to say that. Right, so we're going on to the next one.
Okay. But look, someone is talking about a diva energy, right? We as male dancers, from Gregor comes straight down to Diamond. I have also said it to myself and to other male dancers, both locally and internationally. And I think that we need to accept that male dancers do have an ego. We do have, a little bit of pompous behavior. And I just think that
thank you very much, Kevon.
Let's not downplay that, but let's also accept that.
If
because
that's what I may have a word in.
We're not hearing you.
When it comes to male dancers in Trinidad and Tobago, we didn't just come on scene, right? So do you think that eternity and to have that that understanding of, yes, we may be a company that is in North or a company in South and wherever, and we may compete against each other in Bestville to any local. Is it safe to say that sometimes gets us carried away, that I cannot sit in the same room with you because I know we are competition and that we are not alliances, and is a line drawn to say by our directors that we are in this mindset right now, competition mode, when Best Village and this competition comes around. But after that, that is your fellow dance brother. That is your fellow dance mate. There is nothing different in terms of, there should not be a problem with you going over to teach them something. And if the lesson is being taught that it's okay to take a lesson or two from this fellow dance student. It's okay for you to be taught something other than me, the teacher or director. And with that, I think we can also get into a conversation of the dance styles and the way dance teachers teach. And is it safe to say that dance teachers would say, this is my technique, and that teacher's technique is not the right technique? So when I, as a student, hear something or see a product of that dance teacher, I am not willing to take it simply because I have been told that that is wrong. I think I think in that frame mind is where the male dancers in Trinidad and Tobago develop this quote unquote diva or divo attitude simply because we are so small. We are not compared to the females,
It's
the
not
amount
just
of
Trinidad and
females that
Tobago,
have in
it's
Trinidad
literally
and by
all
extension
over.
Tobago, right? We know each other. If somebody says, you know Simeon, yes I do. Mariba, yes I do. You know Jamal, I know these dancers. There isn't this big set of male dancers. That's myself. And I had to break that chain that the teachers who may have said, no, that's not the way. I had to put it to myself that everyone can teach you something. Miss Judy Boatswain taught me that one dance teacher can teach you one thing, and then another dance teacher can teach you another thing. And instead of you sitting in the ignorant mind frame that your dance teacher is allowed to teach everything, look at the caliber of lessons you can learn when all of them teach you, and then you are working with. That's just my contribution.
You see, Kenson, is to see we have to, as Sergeant and Lucette said, dance is not a male dance issue. That is dancers on the whole. Now, when you walk into a dance room, you are always taught pull up and present. That's what you are taught as a dancer. So off the bat, you cannot get away from, even on an international level, you cannot get away from that look and that feel of a dancer. Now, I'm adding what you're saying, and I'm also responding to what Mariba is saying. With regards to dance, what we have to understand is none of us bigger than that word called dance. So, like for instance, I was fortunate to be taught by Gregor. Now, everybody knows Gregor is the Devo. Gregor is the Devo.
That's the Devo.
No, and I say this to say, you have to know when to pull personal away from helping build my craft. If Gregor says to me, Simeon, and he shouts at me, I am not going to take it that for you. You know why? Because as dancers of yesterday, that's how they taught. The dancers of this generation now takes outside egotistical behavior and bring it inside. Now, I'm just using Jamal as instance. Jamal and I, because we all here have personal interaction with each other, and I like the way the commission is going now because we can get on in it. Jamal and I may be friends outside, but even if we are not friends outside dance, if Jamal gives me a correction, I am going to take that correction. I may take it with a pinch of salt, but I am still taking it. You see, because I have to understand that I am not seeing me. And most times, only in a ballet studio, you get a mirror. You are not seeing yourself as a dancer. So if someone is telling you something, I would use Kevon, for example. There are times when we dance together, Kevon would have said, Simeon, with folk, you don't have to dance so, you don't have to put too much energy in it. You can have lines in dance. I could have looked at Kevon and say, who is he to tell me that? Or I could have said, you know what? Kevon knows what he is saying, so let me take what he is saying there and apply it. Same way how I would just message him and say, Kevon, here's what. In that tilt, here's what. Press on the big toe on the releve. And instead of saying, who Simeon Feely is, you know what he does? He says, okay, you know what? Simeon may be aggressive, but it's the message that's being brought, not the energy that is being brought with, because everyone is in this space for one reason, to dance. Everyone is in this space to improve on their craft. So we have to get out of that mindset of, okay, yes, energies is something we can only manipulate the energy, and we are all different. Gregor may speak nice, Jamal may speak harsh, Zidane may be diplomatic, we are never the same. So we cannot say that we have to be able to be diplomatic, because if we go back to the days of Raymond Ross and all of these people, we would have not been able to survive. And that's what we are doing wrong in this generation. We are not looking at the message, but we are listening to how the message is sent. Now, everyone is there for dance. We all come in the room for dance. So whether you tell me in a nice way, in a harsh way, you tell me a correction. And that's what I need to look at, the correction. Because when you go internationally, these ballet mistresses, they don't speak nice. When these ballet tutors come, they don't speak nice. When you look at interviews online or away, these people who do the auditions, they're catty, they are nasty. And that's the real world. So only when we can throw that away is where we will push and go forward. We can't think how people talk to us, because then we will stay in Trinidad. That's just my opinion.
Well, we have to separate and we have to differentiate between two words. These words are when being harsh and passionate. when you're saying, Gregor, I'm being passionate, I'm not being harsh. Because there's no way I'm going to tell a boy, a male dancer, stretch that leg like stretch that leg, sir. I wouldn't get it. Stretch that leg, you so fast, I'll get it. So it's being passionate. And most of the times, we get away with the differentiation between passionate and harsh. I mean nothing about it. If I say, boy, lift that foot, you think I really care about when I go home, I go and watch TV and drink a Coca-Cola. I'm not going to think about you. So if you better and mind the business and stretch your leg and go study why he talking to me. So, right.
We have a voice note before we start. Let's see if we can hear it.
Do you think that there can possibly be a show with all you guys on SOCA TV very soon in this COVID situation that we are at? You know, probably some people could pay and you guys can come up with a nice choreography in a spot scene that they are now able to have 25 people in one space and to show the strength of male dancers. Of course, we can add more male dancers. You know, we have Sion, we have Shakil. They will on the show as well. You know, do you think you guys can come up with something, knowing that you all are spectacular and come up with a spectacular show?
Sean, seriously, you could really get somebody else to say that, to ask that question. Like, really? Who doesn't know it, Sean? Oh my gosh.
Well, are you all going to come up with the dance choreography and do it for the live or for the audience? See you all on this video conferencing.
That is something we could discuss at a later time, I believe. But it's
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, we'll discuss.
I agree. Really, Sean? Really?
Hi, good night, gentlemen. My question to you, do you think your talent is being respected and valued enough in Trinidad and Tobago? And where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
All right,
Okay.
so we have 2 questions in there.
Oh, yep, 2 questions. All right, so to answer the first part of it, I would say that it is, on certain levels, it's not being respected. Yes. To answer the second part of the question, where do I see myself in the next 5 years? I still have hopes, and I still believe that I want to be able to work with a professional and traveling company. So I still want to be able to perform and travel the world with a dance company.
Well, we're going to make that here, and you all will be the company.
Just like Mariba, it's not respected on all fronts, but I would say coming from Tobago, I have gotten a great deal of respect from persons both who are involved in the arts and who are not. But just like we said, not on all fronts, it's respected because there are a lot of people who believe that dance isn't something that, you know, it's not a thing, it's not a profession like other professions, you know? And in respect to the second question, I now have an affinity for administrative applications towards the art forms. I'm going down the pathway of policy. That is what I'm attracted to right now. So what I'm going into is really looking at developing the performing arts sector within the landscape of Tobago. And then by extension, that would then grow into Trinidad and Tobago. But I'm going to be that person and say, I'm dealing with Tobago first. I'm Tobagonian. And I'm looking at it within its connection with tourism and establishing the performing arts sector in alignment with its tourism and the whole redefining of the tourism product.
Zidane, let me hear from you now. What do you think?
From my experience with Kathak, I would say that the art form is respected to a certain point, but it's not respected to another. So for example, there was this time I went to perform for a show, and there was like Zidane Rupnarayan doing a piece, something like that. I can't remember, but it was just plain. So I'm like, this is how you are introducing me. Now I'm fine with you introducing me however you want, but there's a difference with respecting me and respecting the art form that I represent. So
Yeah.
I don't care if you introduce me as however you want, but introduce my art form with respect. If you understand what I'm saying, because
Yeah,
this is a
just don't call it
classical
a
art form,
piece.
just like other art forms, right?
Yeah.
You have to have that level of respect of giving the audience a little brief synopsis of what the art form is, right? In terms of opportunities, if I'm not mistaken, I would say for me, who I see myself in the next 5 years, I would honestly would like to be a performer in the Akram Khan dance company, where he does the ballet training, the contemporary, the Indian classical, Kathak. You know, that's me. That is what I am looking at in the
Where
next
you
5 years.
from? Where that
Pardon?
company is based?
In England.
In England, okay.
Yeah. And if I don't get through with Akram Khan, then I'm journeying to India.
You will get through, but you have to. You also have to make it first and leave the country as the National Dance Company of Trinidad and Tobago. You all need to do
Yeah.
I feel like
You
you're
all
turning up your
need-
sleeve, you know.
right. You all are the next
Yeah,
generation.
you pushing that company hard.
So true.
Okay, so I had a beautiful question for you all, but I'll save it. So I find I looked at a lot of your performances and choreographies, and I think as young dancers or choreographers, you all sometimes miss the narrative. I like the names of your pieces, and they don't really state. When I watch the piece, it does not really say what the name, the theme, or the title implies. Is that because there is a certain thing going around called conceptual dance language, where it's a concept and not really a narrative? I don't understand, because I did modern, and I still, when I'm doing modern, I still try to keep with the theme of my piece. So where is that coming from? Is it because, well, I'm not going to say you all are plagiarizing. Is it because you see things and you just delve into it, or you are taught these things? I don't know. But the narrative is clearly different and unique. I like it, but sometimes I don't understand it. So explain the way how you choreograph for other people. I've seen most of your work. Don't rush to all at once, Sharad.
Yeah, you can repeat the question. Sorry, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear the question.
So you're not focused?
No, come back. I didn't hear the question.
What's going on here,
The
boys?
shade is coming. The shade is coming. In fact.
I'm a battery low.
I'll repeat it again, Sharad. It's okay. It's not a Miss Universe show, so I can repeat it 15 times. I'm seeing a new genre of dance. I think I will call it conceptual dance artists, where your dance choreographies are more based on concepts, more or less, than the narrative behind it.
Right.
I've seen names of themes of dances, title of dances, like the Sugarcane Factory, and then I'm watching the dance movement behind it and have nothing to do with whatever you were saying. Is that a conceptual and not the narrative way of where we as Caribbean people supposed to be more based on narrative instead of conceptual? It's nothing wrong with conceptual, but you all are not sticking to the narrative. And I feel being young, you're supposed to stay to the narrative before you shift it. How you all feel about that? Don't all rush at once.
Sharon was going to answer.
Somebody go ahead.
Okay.
Gregor, I think it's because the newer generation is thought that contemporary is just it's just very creative, as opposed to, long time contemporary was always there, but the dancers of yesterday they focus more on modern dance. Now with modern dance, there's motifs, there's a feel of everything there in that dance, as opposed to contemporary, just movements. Modern dance would be a technique that you're using to to outline a story. Like if you look at Cinnamon from Alvin Ailey, it's postmodern dance, and he used that technique to create a storyline. Now you don't get much modern or postmodern dances anymore. You get contemporary. Now contemporary dance for most people is just okay, cool. If it's abstract, it's silence, and you do anything, you call a dance water, and you might just wrong analogy. Sorry. You call a dance land, and you stomp 2 times on the floor, and you consider that dance land. No, you have to show what is the essence of land, what dance means. So there's more of a synonymous meaning to the piece as opposed to just movements. I think now people are more focused on people who are choreographing, I should say, choreographers, just focused on choreographing and labeling it contemporary because they feel like once it's labeled contemporary, it's authentic and no one can tell me it's right or wrong. So because no one can tell me it's right or wrong, I'm just going to do anything in it and add 1 or 2 things that may make sense, and I call that a dance. That's how that's for me, that's how I feel it.
Nice feeling. Go
For
ahead.
me, though, Gregor, to answer your question specifically, I think for me, the few times that I choreograph, it's a bit conceptualized, and that is because of specifically what I was exposed to when I went to China. So basically, what we did is, with the language barrier being an SU1, what we did was in the choreography classes is that we would actually, I remember very vividly the first class, I was just doing a bunch of craziness with my hands, and the teacher looked at me in the back and said, "Everybody do that." And then we started to like add the different devices and elements of choreography onto it. And that was a dance. So it was actually a concept. And even looking at other dance choreographers in China, and that was basically what it was as a conceptual thing. So I want to control by saying that yes, I think that choreography is going in that direction. Not that it is right, but yeah, that's the direction that it goes in. And because it's really actually what is the in thing now, or what is acceptable. And I think as choreographers, or as any person who wants to create, you're creating based on what is acceptable. Unless you have the very, very strong mind about, okay, this is my style, this is my narrative, and I'm sticking to it. But we tend to get eaten in by what is being likable. Based on what Simeon said, in terms of the postmodern and the contemporary style, I think is a bit of that. Postmodern is not being done because it's not being accepted as much as it was before than now. Your piece have to be contemporary. Your piece must have some, as I rightfully say, some sort of stillness or nothing in it in order for it to be accepted as a piece.
Okay. Zidane, I know you are very unique in your choreography. So Zidane, can you elaborate?
For me, I would say conceptualizing my choreography just comes from inspiration from my keen eye, like in terms of everyday life observation. If it's like a bus driving or someone walking or someone talking, this is where my choreography builds from. And then after I just end up getting music, and the choreography just builds in my head. And then after I will start with my choreography and finishing my choreography, my title will be the last thing to come first of my piece.
Okay.
I think I think just as he mentioned that it just came to me that just like how some choreographers, as how he conceptualizes stuff and how he creates as he go along, and then after when he feel like the product is finished and he is contented with what it is, then he gives it a name, and then it is what it is. As opposed to somebody saying, okay, I'm going to do a dance about the towel that I used. and from that they build certain things and certain aspects come about, and they put things that they have learned and picked up along the way to suit it to really stick to the narrative. I think that sometimes is what leads the two things in different directions and where you get the result of the concepts and the narrative.
For me, I think is about defining conceptualization or concept and narrative. For me, concept would deal definitely with the framework in which the dance is built around, and narrative would tell the story. To me, when I'm choreographing, the concept informs the narrative, and I see where the concept informs the narrative. And for me, who I like to choreograph to tell story. So therefore, if I say my dance is a journey, you're going to see aspects of journey along with it. And that is just me, and personally coming from me. But Gregory said something in terms of, we in the Caribbean, we stick to narrative. To me, and this is just me growing within the art form and looking at different choreographers and me choreographing myself, who is to say what is right and what is wrong? If I say this is my piece and this is my narrative, who are you, the audience member, to say that what I am describing as the journey is not the journey? Right? It depends on the perception and how the dance is consumed by the audience, but at the end of the day, there is no defining, not defining, but there is no way to tell a person that what you're doing is not what you're doing. You understand what I'm saying?
Creativity.
But there's no right or wrong way to do it.
But then there should be forums where because sometimes after performance the audience member gets the opportunity to question the choreographer, because not every dance is straightforward. You see a straight story. So it might lead the audience to interpret how they feel, but they have questions. Right. And we have a forum for them to ask the choreographer questions afterwards.
Right. So I agree with you there, but we also have to take into consideration that there are dances that are choreographed for the audience to take away whatever they want to take away from it.
And that's fine, yes.
So I agree with you, whereby if there's an opportunity for them to question about the narrative, if questions arise, then let them stand behind their work and say, this is what constitutes journey from my standpoint or my perspective. But we cannot just sit and look at a work and say that they are not sticking to the narrative. That's their narrative. That's their creative endeavor. So you cannot say that, they're not sticking to the narrative.
I mean, who are you performing for? If you're doing your work for an audience, the audience can say. You can't just be selfish and say, this is mine and I put it on a little bit. I take away your... I wouldn't pay $150.
What I am saying is that the consumption is not going to be the same by every audience member. So you could the narrative, but somebody else would definitely see the picture that I'm trying to paint. So it's all about the consumption. I don't think a generalized statement should be made that choreographers don't stick to narrative. It's up to you, the audience member, to be open-minded when you consume a piece.
Correct.
Okay, well,
I agree with you, Kevon. I think what's important is knowing how to label the style of choreography that you're doing, and I think that's what's lacking. I think that a lot of people may be doing as you like, because even one of the comments that would have been posted would have been, there's a difference between content and context. It is very true, because I think those are aspects that contributes to what style of dance or what the audience takes from the dance. For instance, if you put certain contents into the dance and the context isn't it's choreographed in a particular type of way, then you can guide the audience into seeing the painting through your eyes, as opposed to just saying it's an abstract piece. And that's what I'm saying. It's very important. And in no way am I disregarding what you're saying, Kevin. I agree with what you're saying 100%. What I'm saying is, to add to that, I think what we need to do is, as choreographers as well, we need to spend a little more time studying the fundamentals of choreography and knowing how to adequately place what choreography is where. If it's an abstract piece, if it's a postmodern piece, if it's a contemporary piece with this piece, if you get where I'm coming from, I think ultimately that's what Gregor was. I don't want to speak for you, Gregor, but I think that's what I got from what you were saying. I'm not sure if it's
Well,
that what you were saying, but that's what I got from what you're saying.
basically, Simeon, I believe that right now dance is really looking as though it's dwindling, and because of that, we have to bring back that audience into the fray. We cannot get on like in the Greek period when the philosophers talk this high language, and we get on like the emperor's new clothes. People don't understand what they're saying. They don't understand what Kevon did it, and they want to belong. So it's beautiful. I don't understand it. No, I'm not saying you, Kevon. I just calling him.
No, I know.
It's still beautiful. But I
We get feedback.
and so we have
Something is happening in the feedback.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, I'm picking it up.
Yeah,
Right. Do you hear me now?
go
So what we have to do?
That's all the phone before I come on the live.
Guys, it's time for Diamond to go in his bed. I'm sorry, he has to leave.
Oh yeah, but that's basically it. But you have to engross your audience, and the only how we could do this is by start making audience friendly dances. I have gone to some shows and I'm a dancer and I know about concepts and I want to run when I see some dances, you know. I mean,
Okay, Gregor.
So I'm talking from the point of an audience. I'm not talking
I'm saying on the point of view
Next second, guys, both of you are talking at the same time.
Just so.
Let me just hear what Shakila is saying, and then Diamond, you will go ahead.
I don't agree with Gregor on the point of creating audience-friendly dances because to me, I believe my choreography is a statement of me and what I believe in, and that may be in, that may be in alignment with what other persons believe, or it may not be in alignment with other persons' belief. It is not my purpose to come and please an audience. It is me showing my work and trying to not transcend, but communicate a message to you. However, you consume that is all based on you. At the end of the day, you buy a ticket, you come in and sit down. But I don't think that I have to sit down and think about if the audience is going to like it or if the audience is not going to like it. That is not the purpose of it.
That's not what I'm saying, though. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you can't stray away from the narrative because you have an idea in your head.
No, but
Yeah, but the idea could be a narrative.
Audience. The idea could be a narrative. It can be conceptual, but your concept can be that far-fetched that the audience can catch it, because I told you I went to shows already and the audience left and I got, oh, what is that? When you call the person's name doing choreography, the audience will not go. Because they had an experience where they don't want to get that experience again. And so sometimes I think we have to meld the two. But let me keep away from that because that is choreography.
And this is not this live is not about choreography.
Dancers. So let me keep on the dance side of it. I have seen a lot of cinematics and all these things all dancers are using to enhance your work. And I have looked at many of the March Gras performances over the past 3 years and some shows in Trinidad and Tobago where it seemed that the movement is, the idea of body movement slowly moving away from the stage. We need to bring back dance as we see dance, because now what we are doing is we're using the dancers as props and using the props as the work. So people spend thousands and thousands of dollars in props and hydraulics and all these things, and they pay dancers $2,000 for the performance. That is very so we as dancers have to pay respect and give that respect to the movement. You all understand we need to give that respect to the movement or else we will lose it. And because just so people will start using robotics and all these things, and the dancers will be faded out from the stage.
Kenson, you wanted to make a contribution? Hold on. We just need to unmute you. So hold on.
Okay,
By
there we go.
the way, Miss Andy Mindy, we are also here in the background.
I think what I got from what Gregor said
There's a lot of
was
feedback
that
in the background.
I believe that within everything that you see on stage has a sort of influence of, let me say, for the category of freestyle, right? It is easy to predict what is going to come because what you often see in creative freestyles dance is what is trending in movement, what the Americans are doing. So you could literally say, well, if this year were to have West Village, you definitely could say half of TikTok movements is going to be in the same choreography because people are looking to focus on amping up a crowd than really delivering a message. Now, to answer the question to where the choreographic process may go, I personally believe, and I have seen for myself, that where folk is concerned, right, I don't think that enough is being fed to the up and coming and new generation of dancers and choreographers, because you're going to see the same thing happening over and over and over again. Now, I might be stepping on a limb by when I say, if it is that you're doing a spiritual dance, I personally believe when I see certain spiritual choreographies, it looks like a workshop. You see, they try to put all the moves that are popular inside of the choreography. And I sat one day and I asked my dance teacher, well, where is this story? Is the story of Shango always going to be that he can drop on one knee, or that he is pulling lightning down, or wherever what has been taught to these students or whatnot? Is this all that we are going to see? At a particular point in time, I put myself in a mind, and maybe because for devotee, I have to catechies and stories that I would like to believe, that I would like to put one day portray on my students. But then it leaves a fair line of saying, is this going to be understood by the judges? And if dance is also education, especially folk dance, is education to the viewing audience, then it should be our right to go into venture in any way, ask a babalawo, an awo, someone within the community about these stories, and how can we as choreographers then put that out there. I think with Gregor's question, that's what I got from it. I think that we are not being fed enough. We are only fed what they want to see on stage, what they would like to judge on stage. And if it is that we go a little left, it's quick to attack and say, well, that's not us, and that's not how we do things, and who give you the right to do that? Is it our right as choreographers to dance in the lines or in the boundaries of being safe, and also dance in the line of being unique?
I thought that was a very great.
We hear you, Carson. We hear you, Carson. You see Simeon smiling, Simeon let down his hair. He's trying to follow me.
Oh God, Diamond go on performance.
And Diamond here.
I want to respond to Carson. That's why.
Yes,
now,
we need to wrap up, so let me hear you, Simeon.
Carson, with regards to folk, there's traditional and there's creative. Folk is a social art form. It's handed down by either two ways, by social practices or by oral. So you cannot stray away from that. There's a reason why you would see the same things over and over and over in Bel Air. It's because it's called preserving the culture. There's a reason why in West Village there is a creative category, and in that category you do what you want. Now, what we have to do is be able to understand and give folk more respect and say we need to go to class. That's where the first problem starts. A lot of the dancers do not go to class. They may go to one class and think they can get all from that one class. So you go to one class, and again, I am an IFA devotee as well, so I'm going to respond based on that. I will go to one class, and then I will go to a parley, and I would see the way the dancing Oshun in a parley, and I would see the way the dancing Oshun on the stage. You have to understand there's a difference between the theatrical performance and the authentic performance. So now what we have to do as dancers / choreographers is spend more time going into the authentic place and sourcing the information and researching and getting the information. And then now, if you want to be creative, test your waters by going into the creative category. Don't wash your foot and I'm not saying you, when I say you, I mean general. Don't wash your foot and jump in and want to go into the traditional category and want to do a set of creative things and then want to know why the judges are now bashing you. It's because there are certain things that have been set in stone with folk and we are not allowed to touch and interfere with. What we can do is create a category to now explore and then call that the creative category. Once it's traditional or once it's authentic, it has to remain so. And that's why folk has gone out the door, because we spend so much time trying to make folk more revolutionized and forgetting that. That's why the Congo Belly will always be a magnificent dance. You want to know why? So don't play with it. They don't play with the Congo Belly. They make sure you can add one or two things, but the Congo Belly will always be the Congo Belly. And we don't do that in Trinidad. We spend too much time trying to create, and we don't spend enough time dancing. And that's why Gregor would have said in his last slide, there are too many choreographers and not enough people dancing. We're not taking time to walk. Yeah, you did. You did. You did. You did. I just did. So I'm not bashing, I'm just responding on points.
Yeah.
I didn't know I said that.
Well, guys, we have one more question.
Guys, I have somebody who wants to say hi.
Hello, Karimba.
Hello. Hi, Shaquille. You have a special show. We saw we can bring you on Take 8. But we really miss you. How are you doing?
Yes, you see the audience members ask
you. Here to find.
Shaquille, send us a message. Hi.
We have to introduce you properly.
So guys, you want to just say, we're going to stay right there, Shaquille. We're going to take one voice note.
Good night, everyone. This is based on my observation. It's just a question, not to offend anyone. But what about dance causes male dancers to behave so masculine? Yes, I understand it increases your ego and probably your self-esteem. But is it can a male dancer dance and still show masculinity?
Yes.
I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Okay, before you answer, guys, that's the question I tried to run from.
No, but we did address masculine dance, before, and some people did address it.
But I will come. I'll bring the question now because it's taboo time. This is the taboo, and I need to address that because me being a male dance something. The question was, regardless of your sexual orientation, do you all think that it's unfair to label male dancers homosexual or to compare homosexuality with male dancers? I will tell you about my feeling about that after, but do you all think it's unfair because as soon as a male dancer jumps into dance, as soon as a male jump into dance, that's the first thing neighbors say, parents say, people, taboo time. Let's get it over with.
I think that's a result of what they call toxic masculinity.
Papa, explain that, please.
Because what is to be perceived as masculine would always be, as some choreographers will say, fisting your hand. Well, I could leave my hand frail and I could still look masculine. Because that's not really the aesthetic that some of those masculine will give off. But I think that is definitely something that is related to toxic masculinity.
Mariba?
I think it's a bit disrespectful to certain levels. But part of me is saying that it's a bit of lack of knowledge, it's a bit of not knowing, and to go to the beginning of what this whole thing, when Mindy spoke about the mothers being talked about or highlighted in male dancers, and and that's because the fathers or the men in the household, they do support it, and it is because of that. But I can't say too much on it because I don't have experiences in terms of dealing with it directly, but hearing people deal with it on those levels, I just think that it's just disrespectful because a career is a career. what you choose to do with it is your business as an individual and as a professional. And I just think that when people tend to attack us like that is because of they're just trying to get your weak point or get your weakness. And we just need to, as the male dancers in the career path and the ones that are coming up and the ones that are going to see us, because we inspire people. We just need to consistently stay true to the craft or stay true to the goal, and it is to keep male dancers alive, keep dancers in it, and to introduce and to bring on the others that is to come.
Very nice. Well said. Sharon, I haven't heard you in a long time.
With regards to that, I think it's with regards to that, I just think it's how the individual carry themselves, right? I think it's the type of genre you do, basically, because a man doing hip hop or crumpet or something is considered street, or a guy who is doing ballet or contemporary is considered, well, the gay or the like man, whatever, basically like that. So I think it's just stigmatism from a very early, from a long time.
Ignorance.
And also it's how
Ignorance,
people carry
but
themselves, or
disrespect.
a dancer or individuals carry themselves, basically. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Mr. Kenson.
It is. Oh.
I'm hearing ignorance, disrespect. Let's hear what Kenson has to say.
Kenson, mic is off, so you may have to put it on Mindy.
Yeah.
Cancer. Get it.
Yes, I think I would agree with Sherrod when it goes with the way someone may carry themselves. And if it is that you're being judged by the society that you are wrong and you carry a particular type of demeanor, they are already going to associate your lifestyle with you on stage and just deem it as that. And then I would also agree with Jamal where it comes with toxic masculinity. I think if it is you just take a bunch of random men and you put them in a room and they see things that are being done by males that for us as dancers is just a move, but they may see it maybe only on a woman, like we say a split, then something like that might be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's all we need to know what he be doing or whatever the case may be. I think it's a variation of those two things that gives it that type of backlash.
Okay.
Zidane?
To be very honest, these gentlemen have covered majority of the things that I would have said. So I would have been speaking now would have me repetitive. So I would not add.
So let me ask you a question. If it is that you'll see, you'll note that I'm saying the word homosexuals, okay, behave a certain way and flick the hair and behave like that all the time. Isn't it safe to say that if you go on stage and you perform and do the same sorts of flicking hair, doing the thing, and all the movements that the society will deem to be very homosexual, because that is what they see them doing on a regular basis? Is it safe to say that people, is it fair to say that people can assume that you all are homosexual, or should it even matter? That's the question, sir.
Well, I will answer it first, and I will tell you why. I saw 3 Tobagonians in the mobile dance off doing hip hop, and the first thing I saw, it was male, and the first thing I saw was Beyonce. If you put a ring on it, and they were doing that, and people found it was funny. So why? And because they were hip hop, they think it's funny. So why, if a male, a next genre of dance do it, you will think it's homosexual? I really feel it's unfair. But let them answer now.
I also think it's unfair because not all homosexuals flick their hair like that. One. And secondly, doing something like that. Huh?
It was just an example.
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand, but just showing that point before I move forward. And also, as Gregor just pointed out, I've seen people on stage, men, do that same thing and get a different reaction from when someone else does it on stage. Why is there a difference? Is it because of the way someone carries about themselves off of stage? Is it because of your reputation? What it is that makes somebody get these notions about if you're homosexual or not just because you make certain movements on stage? When a choreographer could tell a straight guy or homosexual to go on stage and do one movement that is the same, how you differentiate it? That's why I think it's disrespectful or wrong to look at something like that and say, hey, that's homosexual.
And could I also add, in terms, for me, from observation, costume has a lot to play with it as well. In Indian classical, you can differentiate how a male looks, how a female looks, but in other styles, I'm not going to call it because that's a whole bacchanal by itself. They like the glamour, they like the jewelry, the attributes of it, so they cause this upon themselves, I would have to say as well. So that's my take on it with costumes.
I wanna add so much. I wanna rebuttal what you're saying, Zidane. Here's why I want to, because in classical Indian dance, there are certain styles of dance where men would wear eyeliner as well. They may wear the red stuff as well, and that isn't something that makes the public say that person is gay. So I don't necessarily think costume has much to do with it. Apart from that, dance is a physical thing. You have to see me. It's 30% stigmatism and 70% how I carry myself, as you would have just now said. If I go on stage and I behave in an effeminate manner, they're going to say that, as I would have added earlier on before when I said dance has no gender. When you hear dance, you don't say, okay, this is a female dance going to happen on stage, this is a male dance going to happen on stage. That doesn't happen. Only I'm not saying throughout the world it doesn't happen, but I feel like in within the last 15 years, only in the Caribbean, you find more of that issue. Here's why I'm saying that. Most of the gay men in the US, when you see them dance hip-hop, you don't know they're gay. It's the reverse in Trinidad. Most of the gay men, when they are dancing hip-hop in the US, you don't know that they're gay. Here's why, because dance has no gender. They don't put gender characteristics in the movement. There's a difference between sexuality and gender, and as a dancer, you have to be able to differentiate the difference before you go on stage. So I am not going to say the public is wrong. No, we as dancers are wrong. Here's why. Because us as dancers, when we go to dance class, we want to wear the shortest things. We want to flick our hair more than the girls. We know that there are more women than men in the dance class, but guess what? Instead of dancing with the men, we want to dance with the women. Instead of doing, more of the stronger movements, we want to put on the belly skirt. Nothing is wrong with putting on the belly skirt. If you're the choreographer and you have to show the movement, nothing is wrong with that. But if it is you are now learning the characteristics and essence of dance and you are confusing it, then you are going to confuse John public. And that's what we need to understand. It is all in our hands, because whether we like it or not, we are coming into a space with people saying, yeah, they probably so. So we are already fighting a losing battle. What we have to do now is say, you know what? This is not how it is. The dancers of yesterday, like I'm just going to call names, like Delton Frank, Terry David, Gregor, all of them. I'm not saying I don't know their personal life. I can't speak for their personal life. But because here's why I cannot speak for their personal life, because never on stage did they show me, or never in a class or in a rehearsal did they show me that they're wearing the tightest of the tight pants, the shortest of the short pants, acting more effeminate than a woman. So we cannot stand here and say, I'm not saying that no one in particular is saying it, but I'm just speaking. We can't say it's the public and it's a stigmatism. No, we cause that on ourselves, because it was always there, but we allowed it to continue. And that's just the end. That's just the long and short of it. We allow it to continue by not saying, I'm going to go on stage and represent a man. I am going to be a male on stage. Not do male movements, but be a man on stage. There's a difference. There's a difference. And we have to understand that.
Okay.
I mean, I get what Simeon's saying, but for me, like every time I do duets, or I am the only male, or I always listen. People at the same time, we have to be mindful of how people are being cultured. And as much because there's a particular dancer I really try to get the individual to be very masculine or manly, even away from dance. If we go to the avenue, if we go to a party, I will, talk to them about certain things and how they care about themselves, but I will not affect or I will not talk on their sexual preference, understand? But what I have realized in doing that in that particular individual, I realize that is how they culture, and culture not necessarily the arts culture, but as the individual themselves directly, how they cultured. And probably if we could again understand and not be ignorant to it, probably we could. But the question is, who is to say who is in charge, or who is to say that who is responsible for it? I guess it lies on the individual. But it's a question will always be asked. It's a topic will always be discussed among male dancers or about male dancers or males in the arts in particular. So and it's not just dancers, it's also like singers and actors as well. I'm pretty sure they tend to performers generally, correct. They tend to
I agree.
and once you're in the arts, Mr. Brady, once you're in the arts is a question that you need to but I definitely agree in Simeon in terms of we need to take ownership in terms of the integrity of male dancers, the integrity of males. So we need to take ownership on it. But it's kind of, to be honest, from my experience, it's really kind of hard to tell somebody how you're behaving it plenty or it real much. It is hard because that individual only knows that, and you introducing them to something different could be too much of them.
So should we just be concerned with their behavior on stage? I mean, we can't control people's personal lives, but we as the audience are the ones who would support or not support based on people's behaviors. So we should be concerned with what you bring on stage, and you have to culture yourself,
correct,
resist, and do what you have to make
because those questions that is coming from those individuals is because they probably cannot respect or even understand that what you see on stage is different to what you see in my real life. And I can definitely say the male dancers in my generation, the male dancers that I go on stage with, that is what I'm talking about. We are men on stage. If the movement requires to be a bit soft, we will be soft, right? However, if I take it upon myself and I put on my clothes and I take my mother to the supermarket, or I take my mother to the restaurant, and I may do something, it doesn't mean that I am like that, or it doesn't necessarily mean that, hey, he like this. And I think we, as the male dancers, we need to teach people to differentiate the goddamn two. What I do off stage is my business. What you love and respect is what I do on stage. It is not your business. It is not your right to know or to find out what I do off stage, unless you want something from me that requires me to be that with you. Okay? And this is where the line needs to be drawn in terms of integrity. And it's about the integrity of the arts for male dancers. The minute you step to me and the minute you come and ask me about what I'm doing that has nothing to do with dance, that's not your business. And it's something that I say with my friends. One thing in this world you must know is your place. And you need to help people find their place and know their place.
We also need to know our place as well.
Mariba, and guys, personally, I came up from an era where I danced with Terry Springer, Terry David, and all these things, and many times I wasn't there that year, but I remember the male dancers came on stage and the Queen's Park Savannah buttoned them off. I mean, on the March Grand night. And that was unfair though, because the Queen's Park Savannah on that very night, I still go back again. Some of the guys on that night decided to overdo with the hairdo, and they wanted to do all kind of things, and the Savannah didn't want it. And unfortunately, that set of the guys ended up on the North Stand, and the bottles came from the North Stand. So I was in the grandstand and still dodging bottle. So again, I gotta say that regardless of what you do on how you do it, I cannot tell if a guy is straight or gay or bisexual. I can't tell that. And I won't be able to tell that because of your mannerisms. I can't, because I've seen some mannerisms and the guys were straight and they were married with children and everything. So I cannot tell that. I am not a psychic. But I think the unfair deal is that when you get into dance, as soon as you go into dance, everybody start watching you funny. And when the first thing I do when I go into teaching dance is teach drum dancers, male dancers, and you know who they are? I usually pick them off a football team. I tell the girls, we have two men, I want to teach a male dance, bring in their boyfriends. Because the boyfriends come and watch. And their boyfriends would come and they would dance. And I do these things for a reason. Because I don't think the guys get as much heckle if they come out of that scenario. They get it later on. And when they start to dance good and the other people believe that, oh my God, he's dancing and they'll do it as a footballer. So they start calling him all kind of names and he get out. So I really sympathize with you all if you all went through that. And I went through it myself. I really didn't care because in the long run, I grew up in a life where I'm teaching all the people who used to heckle me and tease me. I am now teaching your children.
Hey, how about that?
And now you're speaking, and now you're speaking to me, the dance tutor, as male, who you used to chastise every day going to practice. You said
Now I pay you.
I need to teach.
No, that again, exactly.
Once you have human in a room, it's a human resource issue.
Diamond, you so much.
That's the problem I just always have. I'm telling you. And the thing is, why, if everybody know me, everybody know that I am very feminine or however I care about myself, who don't know me don't want to know me, right? And if I choose to do, like, for example, on my media, if I choose to do certain dances or certain stretches, or people like to say quote unquote feminine and whatever the case may be, and how I carry about myself and all this and that. But when it comes to dancing, for example, just an example, when I dance in Strength of Men, I think it is with Jamal and them, you didn't see no feminine there, you didn't see nothing like that. I danced in the choreography in soca, you didn't see no feminine. When it's time for choreography, it's nothing about feminism or doing that. I could dance like a man, and that's what people just feel to understand, and that's what it doesn't know the place. And that's the whole crap and nonsense where everybody coming and stating things about, oh, is how you carry about this stuff. Whoever know what I choose to do with myself that have nothing to do with all that knowledge, mind all your business. Because I am feminine and I am proud to be that. And that have nothing to do but come on a stage next to all your man or whoever, and I would dance them. And that is the fact. And all it doesn't know that, and all it doesn't know their place. All you need to give us our respect, because we don't do them things to nobody. And at the end of the day, as dancers, this is why we as male, we need to get our respect.
Okay, Diamond.
And that is why I'm who I am.
Diamond, okay.
To me, because
okay, Diamond.
I fight this, and people doesn't understand, and they just like to run the mouth, mind all their business and hush.
Okay.
No, let them speak.
Thank you, Diamond.
That was a brilliant one, Diamond.
All the feminine is when it comes to dance, folk,
Diamond, you're not feminine.
All these things, you don't see a thing. When I am
Diamond, you're not feminine, you're only rough from the edges.
When I put out my content, I am feminine. When I go to Jamal and Kareem and I ask them for a dance, I want something feminine. I can do everything. That is why there's something called versatility.
But Diamond, honestly, you are not feminine, though. I think you are very masculine. You're feminine is a different term and a different meaning. So when people say that about you, just ignore it and do what you can do best, and put all your energy there. Because I don't see feminine bone. Well, besides little beads in here that fall down. Many times I see a body on stage dancing and I go like, wow, because you have a very masculine outlook. I think feminine is a different word.
That is the problem.
I agree, Greg. Well, I honestly agree.
It's up to the individual to portray how he wants to portray himself, how he wants in public and on stage. However, we have to remember that is the audience who are looking at you. And if the audience observes you outside, it is still up to them to have their own opinion of you. You have to continue doing what you want to do.
Correct.
Be confident, like Diamond.
Correct.
Do what you want to do, but just remember that when we dance, we're dancing for the public, and they will too have their opinion. All right. So guys on the
All right.
app, have one last question. We could probably take one or two views on it. Terry Springer had asked earlier, how can we ensure that male dancers are employed and well paid? Now, I know that we are in the period of oh, it was Karen? Okay. I know we are now in the period of COVID-19. Some of us still in quarantine. And I know most of us here, with the exception of one or two, are still students. I mean, dance is our career. We are artists. I want to know, what have you all been doing during this period? How have you been coping? Because I know this is where we get paid, we teach, we perform, and all of this has been locked down. I want to know what you all have been doing during this quarantine period, even up to now, even though we open up, we still can't perform as before. And have you all accessed the grant that is being offered to artists?
You know, there's a grant out for you, all right? $5,000.
Did the form come out? I know they will say something about next week.
I think what's the name again? The girl with all the color here. The girl with the purple here and all the green here and all them things.
Oh my God.
I think
Kimmy?
Kimmy said next week I'm here, they will be out. So you all go and grab one fast and sign up. You all are artists and you all will in isolation and you all need to be paid for your time. Because I didn't see you perform anywhere, Mr. Narayan. You didn't perform throughout the COVID-19. Not even one. You didn't even do a little TikTok. A little TikTok.
Thomas, they credit him for his.
I have work in the inside.
Okay.
But it's just to put it out there.
All right then. When you will put it out, well, go and get the 5,000 before you put it out, before they say that all you was working. Okay, so how did you all operate? How did how did you all deal with the COVID-19 situation? Now the pre-COVID and post-COVID, how you all going to deal with it?
And thank you, Mr. Taloa, for the question.
Mindy, for me, I will go quick. How I dealt with it. At the beginning, it was a vacation for me to stay home and to relax. I don't have injuries, but I'm pretty sure for those who have injuries as dancers on the whole, it was able for you to like sort it out and rest. I did not do the TikTok videos. I didn't do much dance challenges that was going around. I really just used the time to relax and to kind of like keep your mental on a straight path. For me, I had an issue with doing classes online, especially the ones where you have to pay, because I believe like if I do a class online, how are you seeing me effectively so that you can correct me? You know, so and this concern is based on technique as a dancer, and it was just bridging that gap, you know, because I'm paying you $60, I'm paying you $100, but am I getting my money's worth at the end of 3 months or the COVID, you know, that kind of thing. So for me, I am one patiently waiting for the post-COVID, so where all the dance classes are going to start back, and I will be your first male dancer front and center, waiting to get my body back into a nice long legs that Mindy was discussing at the beginning.
Okay, I thought it was me because I really set up for Sharon. Go ahead. Jamal?
Yeah, he's
Shaquille was going to answer.
Oh, Shaquille, okay, go ahead, Shaquille. Kevon?
Basically, to me, what I would have done is that I didn't take any online classes. What I would have done in terms of my understanding of the arts that I've been practicing, the ballet, the contemporary, the folk, I would do for ballet and contemporary, I'll take YouTube classes just to keep my body going. And with the folk, I would have taught some classes for Lucette. She would have been doing some online classes with her students. I would have done going as a guest teacher to do like just teaching them about things like bongo and stuff like that, and going through movements with the students. I did that. I also, with me just venturing into new things, I would have started my own show, Bagel Banter, which is all about the whole idea of creating a space and a platform for youth involvement in more island issues, Tobago issues. That is, I'm actually on the topic of tourism and culture right now, and we're talking about the same thing, setting up policies, setting up avenues whereby dancers are able to live sustainably or have opportunities to live sustainably outside of the seasons where the culture and the art forms are practiced. So,
okay, guys, I'll jump in here a little.
Busy. Very good.
Guys, you don't want to hear everything you do about the pre and post COVID. Please keep it short. We have to leave. Diamond. Or who's next?
Jamal is speaking.
Jamal, speak.
I have just been doing some work with LaShawn Prescott L. That's a SOCA class on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. I haven't been doing much dancing, but there was also this Sweat Up Northwest Lavantil where they come together, you know. That was a nice vibe, you know. So that's most likely it. I'm working on ideas and research for my thesis coming up later this year and next year.
Oh, I can't wait to read or see.
Diamond?
Well, I have been keeping busy. I think it's the best thing to me. I've been doing videos, yes, of course. The challenges, which is mainly local challenges from our very own girls and like Kels and Luna. Those girls. And apart from that, I am also looking to collab with a few other girls that are local as well, so that we can also put content out there. So just stay tuned and you guys will see what come up
I
with.
am not hearing anything at all.
All right. Zidane?
Well, my COVID period has been I started off doing classes, teaching Indian contemporary virtually at the L Infinity. But I decided not to continue because it was really difficult to teach via the screen, and physical contact is something that I depend on for my dancers. So I decided not to continue my classes, and ever since I've continued my classes physically with Sadbal Singh in Kathak, and currently I'm doing schoolwork, so I'm occupied.
Nice.
Lovely.
I haven't heard from Sharon in a long time. Sharon, you're
Sharon
alive?
said he's not hearing anything.
Sharon? Why is Sharon waiting for the next
My friend said he's not hearing anything, so I don't know if he's having a technical problem on his end, but he did say just now that he's not hearing anything.
Yes, I did hear it. Well, Kenson, let's hear you. What have you been doing during this quarantine period?
At first, I was doing Zoom classes, but then that as well became difficult. So after a period of time, I just made my living room my dance studio. So my kids has been here during the quarantine, working on my companies, building my company to be more established. We have done little things like photo shoots and choreography for when things get better. I also took the time to ask my dance teacher and someone I would like to mention, Patriana, to pass on some of their information to me. So I've been personally building myself knowledge-wise on other dance styles. And that's it. Oh, as well, I've been helping SOCA TV become what it is. You know,
Bless
all the
God.
good setups you all see here. This is my credits. Please, thank you. Yeah, bless God.
Make sure Sean puts you in the credits. Just saying.
You did a lot. You did a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Rajesh Sinat, just a little correction. Mr. Rajesh Sinat, well-known Kuchipudi dancer, insists that
Yes,
you
yes, Dr. Sadbal Karan.
Yeah, you have to be Dr. next
My
to it.
apologies.
You'll put it also. Don't forget.
My apologies. My apologies. It's Dr. Sadbal Karan.
You have to put it next to it. Don't just call people by the name anymore. They're not your friends. Okay, so
wait, we have
what you did and what you're doing and what you intend to do, what you're trying to do during pre and post COVID. You heard the question. I want to say it in Spanish. Simeon?
I would have, as I would have mentioned earlier.
Simeon?
Well, I'm kidding. I can hear you.
Well, you're not responding, so that's why you're here.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are loud and clear. The whole of Trinidad is set.
I heard you and I responded. I guess you were talking while I responded.
Oh no, we didn't hear you. Can you just repeat
Yeah.
quickly?
For me, as I would have mentioned earlier on, I would have gone back into training because I felt like I would have spent a lot of time teaching and performing and not training my craft. So I think I said for the COVID period, what I would have done was spent a lot of time training. I would have started back training in dance because I feel like I spent a lot of time teaching before COVID and performing, and I'm still training, and I intend to do so for probably the rest of the year. So I don't want to perform much. I want to be in the classroom and become a student and train, so I can refine my craft.
Very nice.
I think that's important for all of us.
Well, guys, we have one quick thing to do, and we have to ask you this. And just we don't want a whole memorabilia or whatever you have to do. Can you suggest one young female, for the next show? Go.
Colleen Braffith.
Oh my gosh, Jamal! Oh gosh!
Okay, I just said one. Don't get on so excited, Mariba. You make me feel to dance. Come on, Mariba. Name one.
I would definitely say Colleen Braffith as well.
Anybody else? Give me another name, quick.
Blossom Reed.
Blossom Reed.
Shanika Williams.
Who did he say?
Chevelle Williams.
Could I add one more? Could I add one more?
We said one. If you want to add one more, go ahead.
Rishma Sita Hall.
Rishma Sita
I
Hall.
like Kelsey Devines as well.
Kelsey Devines.
Yeah.
What about you, Simeon?
Rhea for me. I can't remember her last name. Mariba, you know her last name. Rhea. We used to dance with.
Rhea Henry.
Rhea Henry from Northwest Florida. Yeah.
Rhea Henry.
Miss Mindy, I hope you have them. Shanika Blackman there.
Anybody? Diamond? Shamika Blackman.
Shanika, yeah.
Shamika what?
Shanika Blackman. She's right inside.
Marcia from Belmont. Marcia from Belmont.
Marcia from
Belmont.
Oh my God.
Oh, you know, I could see her.
From Belmont. All right, guys. Kenson, we have one more suggestion to get from Kenson. You all with the young males, we want to get one suggestion for a young female to include.
Oh, okay.
Janine Sobers. Yes. Our third place Larry Queen. Thank you.
And that's nice, but this is not for Larry
No, she's qualified. She's very well qualified. Yes, sure.
Oh my God, Gregor.
I hope you all call some names there. You know they're coming into the Gael. So dude, you can't tell me we say call girls and I know you all are the best in the males. So I hope these girls coming on have fire.
I'm going to call out the names one more time. So ladies, listen out for your name and prepare yourselves.
Delicia, prepare yourself.
Braffett. These are the suggestions. We hope to get them on. If we can't, we'll get other people to replace them.
Colleen's hot. She's hot.
Blossom Reed.
Excellent.
Chevelle Williams.
Whoa.
Rishma Sita Hall.
Great dancer.
Kelsey Devine.
Kelsey.
Rhea Henry.
Rhea, you get through.
Shanika Blackman.
Shamika Blackman, you make it.
Marcia Mark.
Marcia Mark, you're in. So that's the next part. So guys, that's here.
Rajesh is suggesting Mandira Singh.
Mandira Singh.
Oh, just to respond to one question that Sion would have asked. Sion would have asked if the grant was for international people. Sion, we don't know. You need to get into contact with Kimmy and find that out.
Kian, who were you dancing? Well, Sion, you will tell me. You can send it in a note. Tell me who you were dancing with in Trinidad while COVID went on.
And hi, Shaquille. I know Shaquille. This is Shaquille Mitchell. He went back off screen. We didn't get a chance to talk to him.
So
But
guys,
you
what
wanna say good night?
about being male? Quick, one, only one. Jamal, your favorite choreographer? Jamal gone?
Jamal is off.
Zidane, your favorite choreographer?
Terry Springer.
Who?
Terry Springer.
Terry Springer.
All right.
Whoa, Terry, great. All right, you're inside. Go ahead, Mariba.
Come back to me, please. Come back to me. Come back to me. Come back to me.
Diamond.
Who's your favorite choreographer, Diamond?
Terry David.
Terry David. Diamond, you gotta relax yourself. Take that pillow and like
Shaquille.
I'll go ahead and say Elvis Rajman.
Elvis Rajman.
Excellent.
Simeon.
Terry David.
Terry David.
For me, I would say Alan Balfour.
Hi, Mindy. We can't hear you and Gregor.
I would say Arlington Series.
Okay, thank you. And
also one more for me, and definitely also Angela Jen, because he gets the best out of you.
Angela.
The technical one. Yeah.
Jamal, we didn't hear from you.
Yes, sorry,
Hi,
I got
Jamal.
off for a bit. Also, I'm Terry David.
Terry David.
So Terry, your name big in the business. I feel proud to have been dancing with you.
All right, but we would have lost.
Gregor Brady as well should be in that lineup.
Gregor Brady should be.
I already have enough accolades. Give Terry some, please.
Oh my God!
Oh, Terry Springer is also a very good choreographer.
I was really glad that you all
Thomas
Terry Springer.
Thomas Talawa as well. He's a very good choreographer. People don't see much of his stuff, but Thomas Talawa is amazing.
Yes, a great. I saw him do some work with some Trinidadians where he tried to make you all use the hip as a weapon.
Yeah.
I said that you must keep
Sonia Mas did it out some years ago, yeah. On TED Talk.
Very nice. You males did quite fine with that.
So guys,
Terry Springer as well.
much. It has been a very enjoyable evening, a long evening, but we have to leave.
I will leave you with a nice little poem. It was written by Miss.
He's a poet. He's a poet.
Story time.
It's short. American dancer and choreographer. And she said, in those days, male dancers were as rare breed than women, as they are still today. A good male dancer, one as strong as we were, was very difficult to come by if you couldn't afford to pay them. Practice hard, visit a dance icon, guys. We are even the senior citizens are dying out, the older dancers. You have to visit them, learn some things from them. And most of all, see you in the future.
Thank you guys.
Come and check your Gregor.
All right, thank you guys for having us.
Senior, yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you very much for having us.
Our audience, thank you for sending in your voice notes.
Thanks for coming.
All right, bye. Jamal, that is not for you.
SOCA TV.
I just want to say one thing. Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much for having us.
Invite people on Back to the Future. It's all about dance culture, keeping the culture alive, and SOCA TV is the place, the new home of culture. So thank you guys and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Oh, one more thing, guys, if you're sending on the comments, which part on YouTube you can find your performances, the viewing audience would love to see.
They could actually look up my name, Mariba Francis, and they'll see a few stuff.
Let's put it in the comments. Let's put our names in the comments.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.